Put it in perspective. Live and direct. Put it in perspective. It's your boy BMad. Got my brother Raymundo Telemundo. Hit your SAP button. My brother from another. What up, man? We got a special episode. This is an episode I've been wanting to do for the 3 years we've been trying to get this thing off the ground, man. This is something I've always wanted to do. Today we're going to celebrate the 25th anniversary of one of my favorite albums of all time, from my favorite rapper of all time, his debut album from Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt. And we're going to get into it today, man. Raymundo, what's going on?
Man, you know what's going on. We do this from Santo Domingo to Panama to Miami and back to Nueva York. We in the building, baby.
Yes, sir.
How you feeling? I'm chilling.
That's peace, bro. I see you. What you drinking on over here? What you got?
Originally, man? Damn, I forgot. It was I want to say it was like this clear Brugal that got me. I didn't think it would get me like this, but it got me like this.
I'm mad I don't got that, bro. I need a little bit of that right now. I'm drinking this Cabernet over here, man. Keeping it grown, man, and keeping it a little mellow. Hopefully it gets me to where I need to be, though. I'm trying to be like you. Hopefully it'll do it.
No, that's good. I think that's better, actually. I think Cabernet is like you sound way more what's the word? Not mature, but whatever. Resolved?
Reserved.
Reserved?
Something.
No, I want to like not accomplished, but it is mature, probably more mature. A little more mature than I do.
Whatever. But yeah, nonetheless, man, we here, man. We gotta talk about this album, man. 1996, Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z's debut. I think it's my favorite Jay-Z album. I think it might be his best. Other people argue. Other people might say the Blueprint. Some people might even say the Black Album. But I mean, out of those three, those are probably his three best albums all time. But Reasonable Doubt holds a special place in my heart. I know it holds a special place for Jay-Z. He said it's his favorite Jay-Z album that he's made. It took 26 years in the making. There was a lot that went into that album, man. You know, it's not even just Jay-Z's album. It's definitely Dame Dash and Kareem Biggs Burke album. You know, they put that together. They co-founded, they started Rockefeller, and that's like their baby. That started everyone's career. That branched out to so many avenues, so many doors opening for other people in the industry, people in the music industry. And yeah, that's the foundation. So yeah, 25 years, man. I can't even believe it. I remember when this shit dropped. And here we are, man. We celebrating this album 25 years later.
I'm in a different camp than you are, to be honest. The way you guys sound, you and my man Joe Rose. When it dropped, it was uneventful for me.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that, like, looking back on it, now it's an event. And I would think he would understand that if he would ever watch this.
Absolutely.
And anybody, if you were, I saw you tweet earlier, like you were rocking this and it was written the whole summer of 96.
Yeah.
I felt like that summer of 96 was the Tupac show, the Lauryn Hill show. You know, we could get into all the albums.
Definitely Pac. Yeah.
Jay-Z was like, especially. Say it again.
He was an afterthought.
I don't want to say it like that.
I mean, but listen, let's be real. All right, like I'm from Brooklyn. Like I have Like, it was different. I'm not saying like it was the greatest album of all time, but in '96 we were playing it because my mom, she bought everything. Ain't No Nigga came out. It was connected to the Nutty Professor soundtrack. It was big in New York. I'm not saying it was big all over the country, but it was on the radio all day. It was a big song that summer. So I mean that helped because I know Jay and Dame and Biggs, they went to Kevin Lyles at Def Jam. They wasn't even with Def Jam at the time. They gave him a bag of money just to push that song, and it ended up being on the Nutty Professor soundtrack. And just like that, my mom, she heard that, and then I have a family tie with DJ Clark Kent. So we knew like Clark, that was his boy. So I was like, oh, all right, my uncle and my mom, and we're gonna buy that album, we're gonna support it. And Jay's from Brooklyn, he's from the area. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Crown Heights, Bed-Stuy. Like in Brooklyn, it was known. I ain't saying it was the biggest album, but in Brooklyn, it was getting spins. It was definitely being played. It was getting love in BK. You know what I'm saying? I can speak for on that note. I'm not saying it was bigger than Pac. No one was bigger than Pac in '96. No one.
Or Lauryn Hill or the Fugees, really. Like, it was Pac and the Fugees, like the top. The thing about 1996, and it's not talked about enough, man. And it really isn't. And I get 98, why 80s babies refer to 98. I understand that. But for me, 1996 was the year that rap music took this next step that Run DMC really started. Like Sugar Hill Gang.
Grandmaster Flash.
Cool. I mean, who was the one that Ghost wrote the Sugar Hill Gang shit?
Grandmaster Caz.
It was Grandmaster Caz.
Yep. What's the name? Big Bang Hank spells his name out.
Right.
In the song, I'm the CASA. Casanova Caz. It's crazy.
So but that's the first official commercial release of hip hop, right? And then Run DMC takes it to this other level. And damn, I forgot the name of the show. I put it up to promote it with Bimmy's on it recently with Big U. Say it again.
Show that's on Hulu. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, with Bimmy and
yeah, Deb Waka Flocka's on. Bimmy. I mean, that's Queen's Legends.
Yeah.
And what's it got? Haitian Jack is in it. Big U. It's good. It is good. Yeah. But Bimmy talks. I didn't realize Bimmy's on television with these guys with Run DMC in 1984, whenever it is. Yeah. Run DMC takes hip hop to another level in the commercialization of it. NWA takes hip hop to another level. Curtis Blow, yes. Dr. Dre, NWA, yes. Snoop Dogg, all that, yes. But 1996, what Tupac did, his understanding of media and everything, his rivalry with Big, that he basically culminated himself.
Yep.
It overtook a lot of that. But in New York City, there were a lot of albums, man. The Score, it wasn't like the Fugees were on our tip of our tongues. When we went to school.
What time of the year did the Score come out?
It was February of 1996, the same day as Tupac.
Yeah.
When I was at the lunch table, junior high school, you couldn't bring up. Jay-Z was not brought up. Nas, Biggie, Raekwon, Ghostface, you couldn't even bring up Method Man. If you brought up Method Man he was commercial. He was commercial. Like, you couldn't mention Method Man before Raekwon or Ghostface at the lunch table. Because if you did, we looked at you a certain way.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is all due off the strength of Raekwon's album '95, classic, Purple Tape, only built for Cuban links. So yeah, they established themselves as lyricists. Tikal album, it wasn't that great. I was kind of disappointed with that album. It was a good album, but people wanted more from that album. They expected more. But Meth was still a man. I mean, he was the front of the Wu. Like he was the biggest act out of the Wu at the time still. But as far as lyrical, Raekwon, Ghost, they were really putting it down. Of course, Nas, Big, they were all established. Jay was still trying to make a name for himself. Like this is his debut album. So yeah, it's easily, especially summer '96. School just ended. It dropped June 25th. Had to be the last week of school. We ain't really talking about Jay like that at the lunch table. Not yet. He's not getting that same. He's not being held in the same regards as the Nas's, the Raekwons, the Ghosts, the Bigs. Not yet. That changes after this. That changed after that summer.
Jay-Z was, I don't want to call him an afterthought, but it's just the fact that what we said is Raekwon came off of the Purple Tape. The Purple Tape is, as far as the street goes, as far as at that point in time, you're talking about a group effort. Like there was a label behind them. There was a bunch of people, just this Avengers behind Raekwon. And then you had Raekwon. Then you had the Purple Tape. Oh my God. That's 95. 94 was Illmatic.
Yeah.
And also Ready to Die. Ghostface album, his first album was ready to come out in 96, right?
Came out, yeah. Iron Man, yeah. Rock, DLC.
I didn't even know Kid Rock came out back then. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, who cares?
Easy E. Yeah, very. But look, Pac, February 13th, Fuji, same day to score.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Finesse,
Buster.
That will be, hold on. Don't just skip over my man, Lord Finesse. I love Lord Finesse. I don't know how to explain this to you. I don't know why. My first rap name was called Finesse. My man Rondell called me, dubbed me that, Finesse.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Hilarious. Ron dubbed me Finesse when I took a chick in the back in 10 seconds or less. Yeah, he did. Busta Rhymes in 1996.
Yeah, his debut album, The Coming.
Yeah, but Busta Rhymes was
that was big.
After the scenario, after the flavor in your ear.
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes was, in terms of commercial appeal. The Roots came out. The Roots came out in 1996 also. I remember the Roots. I remember seeing videos in 1996 and just watching them and taking for granted just greatness. Just
that wasn't their debut.
No, I'm not saying it was their debut, but shout out to Black Thought. Shout out to the Roots.
Yes.
Philadelphia, everything. Philly, what's up? This is what I really wanted to. Damn it. Lost Boys. Yes, are you crazy?
Love that album. I love that album.
I don't love that album.
I did. There's a reason why. It was just pump. My mother played it all the time. My sister was a big fan. Yeah, man. When I heard Lex Coops, Beamers in the Benz, like that was like I love that fucking song, man. Love that shit. I love the Lost Boys. Renee, that Legal Drug Money was a dope album, man. They had some joints.
The singles on Legal Drug Money.
Mm-hmm.
Lex Coops, the Beamers in the Benz. To all my ladies and my friend Renee, is a music makes me high.
Yes.
First of all, Lifestyles of the Rich and Shameless. Lex Coops and
joints.
First of all, thank God for Wikipedia. I seen a little chubby motherfucker who runs this thing. Shout out to him. Yo,
donations.
we gotta give Lost Boys their props. By the time Reasonable Doubt came out, and I saw you tweet earlier, I'm gonna put your tweet up here just so that everybody
be my guest.
I don't think he was ahead of his time.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. But go ahead.
Okay. He sounded like, or we thought he sounded like everything that we already heard at that time. I'm with you. I'm
I'm
with you.
glad. I'm glad you said
Yeah,
that.
because of the mafioso rap that you would think Raekwon set up with, the Wu-Tang background and the Only Built for Cuban Links, the Purple Tape, that was there. And Illmatic set up and Ready to Die set that up. But we cannot go on another
Oh, G-Rap.
10
Yeah,
seconds.
I just seen it. Just seen the thing pop up. Go ahead.
You can't ever discredit Cool G Rap
No.
for coming up with this genre.
Mm-hmm.
Fast Life with Fast Cars. It
Nah.
solidified Cool G Rap. He just and it was featuring Nas. He created the 90s New York City style of rap. Yes,
Oh,
NWA
yep.
ushered in the whole crack era, what the hood is about, the realism of everything. Yes, but Cool G Rap is never gonna get credit for this. Not the way that we're gonna give him credit.
Okay.
But what you hear, the way you hear Nas rap, what you hear, the content, and more importantly, the flow.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, Nas's flow, Ghostface, Raekwon, Big L, Jay-Z,
Yes. They all that G-Rap. Yeah.
Cool G Rap, all the way down. Kill, shout out to Kills. Yo, Kill, you are the man. My bad about Philly. You were right. Ben Simmons is oh my god. But
Oh
me and
man.
him went back and forth, and he couldn't believe that I said that. Like I said, yo, Cool G Rap was ahead of his time. You talk about ahead of your time. That is Cool G Rap.
All right.
His flow, his content, and the no gimmicks image,
Yeah.
which was really a gimmick. Nobody wants to say that, but meaning you really lived, or it seemed like you lived the lyrics. That was Cool G Rap. As much as it was Easy E, yes. And even shout out to Schoolie D, another
Yes.
Philly pioneer of gangster rap.
You gotta bring up Schoolie D.
You got to bring up Schoolie D. Schoolie D's making his cream. He pioneered everything. Schoolie D is the origin of everything. Then Easy E follows suit, then Ice T. But for New York City, shout out to Corona Queens, by the way. Corona Queens, Queens all day. Cool G Rap came up with the origin of how a New York City rapper was rapping in the mid 90s. He did that shit in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And then graduated it, passed the baton to Nas officially on Fast Life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo, I agree with you. This is not a debate. Now, what I said on Twitter about Jay being ahead of his time and Reasonable Doubt being ahead of his time, the perspective that Jay was given from the perspective of a hustler. Yeah, we heard all these hustling tales from G Raps. We heard it from Raekwon, heard it from Big Nas, a lot of other people. But the perspective and the reflective point of view that Jay gave on Reasonable Doubt, the insight that he gave, the point of view of a hustler really going through it, really doing it. No one was rapping like that. No one was detailing it the way Jay detailed it on Reasonable Doubt. It was cinematic. Like Barry Cooper is his name, the guy who wrote New Jack City. He said that about Jay's Reasonable Doubt. He spoke about it. Like dudes were doing that. We talking about the gangster mafioso shit, and we see that from the album cover. And Jay and Dame, they have a lot to do with people really taking off and like, oh, this is just another mafioso type. Even a review from the source, the guy that reviewed it, I forgot his name, Clinton Braxton, some shit like that. He was like, oh, it's just Jay-Z's not saying anything new. just another mafioso type LP that you hear nowadays. And totally it went over everyone's head. They wasn't looking at, they'd seen the album cover, they seen the fedora, the suits on, the cigar, the aesthetic, the gangster mafioso aesthetic, and thought elsewhere. But no one was listening to the lyrics, the dualities, and the perspective that Jay was giving on songs like The Evils or Politics as Usual or Can I Live. Like that shit was just different. It was ahead of its time. Motherfuckers had to go back to Reasonable Doubt years later and like, yo, holy shit. What the fuck is this? Even Big had to give props like, yo, this dude is on another level. Like, it's just, I just felt like that album, it didn't get enough love because it was so many albums. Jay wasn't established. It was so much great music that came out at that time. And then, yeah, the whole album cover, him wearing the suits and everything, it was overlooked. People had to go back and look at that album and break down those lyrics. People still catching those lyrics to this day. There's people on Twitter all the time like, yo, I ain't even understand what he said on The Evils, and I didn't even catch that line until now, 25 years later. Like it was just, Jay was just in a different zone. Like what he was saying was like, it was coded, it was slang, and it was flying over people's heads 100 miles per hour, and no one was catching it. Not everyone was catching it. I'm not saying everyone wasn't catching it, but a few of us were. He was talking G code on that album. Only a few people could probably relate to. You know what I'm saying? So Reasonable Doubt, even though it wasn't a hit, and Jay said this, everything you said was correct. Jay even said, he said, yo, listen, it was not a hit out the gate, you know what I'm saying? Like, nothing like that, but it penetrated culture. It penetrated later. People had to dial it back and go look at that album and realize what I was talking about. It was just a different album, man. That's what I meant by that. I'm not saying that he invented that flow or he invented that type of style of rapping. No, it's the way he was talking about it. It was conversational. Like he was talking, it was like, all right, you know what it is? It was like he was the ghost of Christmas past. He was taking us, he was like we were Ebenezer Scrooge, and he was taking us back in time. Like, yo, look, this is what's going on. Like we was doing this, X, Y, and Z, and this is the perspective and the thoughts that was going through my mind when I was doing this shit, when I was making this album. And it's like, yo, you're getting an insight, like, oh shit. Like, oh, it's more to this. Like, this is why you guys were doing this. This is why you had to do what you had to do. This is why you were hustling. Hove did that. So hopefully you had to go through that. It wasn't like he was glorifying this shit. He was giving his perspective of how it was. He was breaking it down, like what we were going through, the hustle mentality. That's why motherfuckers like Pusha T and even Raekwon said this, like, yo, had to go, but like, yo, Jay was saying some shit. Only a few people can understood that shit, man. That's why that album to me is ahead of its time. That's what I meant. Yeah.
For me, what made Jay-Z at 96 to make me pay attention to him, 95, I didn't know about the whole Time to Build with Mike Geronimo DMX. I just didn't know. At that point, my man was just giving me mixtapes, the Clue shit. I just got put on the Clue and didn't even take it that seriously. If you weren't on TV, I didn't get having a video and being on a Clue tape at that point in time are two different levels.
Yeah, at that time.
And not to disrespect Clue, because that was a level. He was a level.
Clue was the man, bro.
So
you got on tape. That was
big deal.
That was big.
So in 1995, we see their presidents. I don't
listen.
When their presidents comes out, it's not like it's a big deal in New York. It's not a big deal. I don't want to act like Jay-Z was not a big deal in 95, 96. He wasn't 96. By the time the mid to late 96, he is a bigger deal. He is a deal. I'm not going to disrespect him like that, ever. But when their presidents came out, I personally was way too young to understand anything he was talking about. Anything that I witnessed, that my mother tried to shield me from, I'm in Corona, Queens, home of Cool G Rap. I seen crackheads in my building. I seen dope heads in my building. I seen all this shit, but I'm still too young. I'm naive. Their presidents comes out to me is boring, but
Wow.
we see, yeah. I'm 13, 12 years old. Tupac is the most exciting thing, bro. Temptations is out. This nigga's in jail and he's not in the video.
Yeah, I
You know what I
know.
mean? Like Raekwon, Wu-Tang. This is comic book shit. So their presidents come out. It's really under the radar, but we see the video, helicopter, all that funny stuff. But AZ appears. They're playing Monopoly, and all of a sudden, oh shit, Biggie's in the video.
Rolling the dice. Who shot you? Classic.
Unless you're really,
yeah. See, it was different. See,
remember,
my perspective was different. I was from Brooklyn. I am from Brooklyn, and he was just, yo, listen, people from Brooklyn. I can't speak for Queens. I can't speak for Staten Island. We have a different pride. So when it comes, you repping Brooklyn, especially if you're a rapper, you in the lane of Kane, you big, and you another rapper coming up, Jay-Z, you had to be nice. Jay was nice. Big was not in that video just because, oh, yeah, you know, I'm just gonna be in this shit. Nah. Big knew this nigga was coming. Big knew what Clark Kent told him and what Clark Kent knew. And Clark was telling niggas for years, like, yo, this dude Jay-Z is a problem. When Big heard certain shit, he was like, yo, he had to pay attention. He had to pay attention. They had to make Brooklyn's finest, bro. Clark Kent is not telling Biggie, this dude is nice, and Biggie's not paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Lil Sean, yeah, Big is like, yeah, I'll jump on the song. I'll do that with you. But Clark Kent is not saying like, yo, my man is nice. And Biggie's not saying like, yeah, oh, he better than me. Like, what? Let me hear. And like, yo, okay.
We got to talk about that.
I got some shit. We can talk about that.
Clark, I want to say reasonable doubt Jay-Z's the beginning of his career, because I think he's going to be what he is regardless. He's way too capable. His ability and his capability, his will to win, his will to just succeed is way too high. But the beginning of his career is different. Way different without Clark Kent.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it's different in a few ways. Clark is the one that told him to stop hustling. So, yo, bro, you nice. Get in the booth. Start recording. Take this shit seriously. Yo, Clark Kent said on his last, what was it? He was talking with Fat Joe. Fat Joe asked him, yo, is anything in your career? You've done a lot. Is there anything you want to be remembered for? He was like, yo, you know, Clark Kent's a humble dude, man. Like, you speak to him, he's humble as shit. He's the most humble dude in the industry, but he's the most culturally rich motherfucker in the industry, which is crazy. Because he's like, huh?
He's one of those. Clark Kent is one of those Forrest Gumps of hip hop.
Yeah, easily. Yo, he knows everybody. And you rarely hear anybody talk bad about Clark. You know what I'm saying? So when people respect what he says. So Fat Joe asked him, is there anything in your career like you want people to remember you by? Something like that. You know, he just ran out of things. He said, just for people to know that, you know what I'm saying, I told Jay to really start rapping and just to see what Jay is at right now in his career. And I'm happy that he made that decision to get into rap. Like, yo, that is crazy. And I think he needs more love than anything. Clark Kent played a valuable part with Biggie's career and in Jay-Z's career, man. Junior Mafia, all that. That's Clark. There's a lot to do with that.
Just the way he sounds is so humble. And it sounds just like some friendly, I'm on a block, we're in the playground. I just keep talking about my man. We play, even if it was basketball, my man's nicer than you. Even if it's baseball, my man's nicer than you. And you finally like, yo, who is your man? Then he shows up. He's not even known like that. Biggie is the biggest star in New York City. Ready to Die and Junior Mafia and the Bad Boy movement and what Biggie was doing in 1996. That's another reason why Jay-Z was just not looked at like that.
2 arguably classic albums, a whole Junior Mafia album, Big's writing all them lyrics, a whole Little Kim album, all the features, remixes he did with Puff, the features jumping, Flavor in Your Ear, all these songs, the joint with Trey Lee, all these songs, man. Brooklyn's Finest. Yo, what Big did in 3 years is incredible.
It's sad, to be honest. It always thinking about Biggie always makes me fucking sad. And with Clark Kent, knowing both of them, knowing that, like, just knowing Clark Kent blew up with Dana Dane.
Dana Dane, yeah.
Just Clark Kent being the farthest gun. He was around Rakim when he was 12 years old. That sounds insane. It just sounds insane. Him knowing what Big was. Clark Kent says that Biggie is the best rapper and Jay-Z is the best MC, if I'm not mistaken. The fact that he said this in 1993, 94, 95.
Yo, listen.
If there is anybody who's ahead of their time, it is Clark Kent. He is Superman. How the hell did he know that?
Listen, if you're gonna talk music with anybody, especially rap, you're gonna talk to a DJ, a producer. They see and hear things that the casual listener might not catch. So to you or to someone else, a casual listener, they can be like, I don't see it. That dude knows. The DJ knows. The fucking producer knows. Go ahead.
What? Yo, name somebody else that was saying that back then, bro.
I don't know. Kane seen potential. Clark seen Jay's potential. You know what I'm saying? Like Kane had to bring Jay on tour. He was like, "Nah, I ain't gonna fuck with Jazz. I'm bringing Jay. I'm bringing Jazz."
But even I've heard Kane. Yes. Big Daddy Kane, who had Jay-Z under his tutelage, and even another Queens legend, Tragedy Gaddafi, said he's seen Jay-Z at 18 years old in Big Daddy Kane's house, just recording fucking music, and all that shit to me is like, oh my God, holy shit. But none of them sound like Clark Kent, just like, oh no, this is, I bet Jazzo is ill, Source Money is ill. This guy, this light-skinned dude right here, he is this. He has the star power, he has this love. He was saying this before he blew up.
Yeah.
I just want to give Clark Kent his fucking props.
Yeah.
Nobody, I had zero idea. I was not up on Jay. To be flat out honest, I didn't give a fuck about Jay-Z until Volume 1. My man Deron in 10th grade or 9th grade let me Volume 1 the CD in 1997.
People ain't really appreciated till the second one came out.
My man Deron, October 97. November. It was late 97. He hit me with the
what came out. Yeah.
I had just came back from DR. More Money, More Problems. I was a big Mace fan. He said, "Oh, you like Mace?" Ruined my fall. He ruined my fall season of 97. I was no longer a Mace fan when by the time Volume 2 came out the next year. Was he underrated at the time when the album came out? Only because I want to say Ain't No Nigga wasn't out yet. Ain't No Nigga was a summer 96 thing. Foxy Brown put Jay-Z. Oh my God. Another Clark Kent connection.
Yeah. Listen, any female that was rapping the way she was rapping on a song at that time was people were paying attention like, yo, Foxy killed that shit. And everybody says, "Oh, Jay wrote that for her." Nah, she wrote that herself.
I didn't know
She
that.
She wrote that. Nah, that was her. She talks
I
about
didn't
it
know that.
in the Making a Reasonable Doubt, the documentary they had. Jay told her, go in the room, write your verse. She heard Jay's verses, and she was like, "Oh, this nigga's trying to kill me." So she said she had to write some ill off the wall shit. She was 16 at the time. So she was like, "Yo, I'm going against a grown dude." She's like, I gotta try to come correct on this. This is my first opportunity. I'm not gonna let this fuck up. And she delivered. Foxy delivered, man. She killed that verse.
It was so polished. So she was doing some ill shit at 16 years old, 15 years, by the way, to be writing some shit like that. First of all. And second of all, Foxy Brown was on I Shot Ya.
Yes, with LL, Prodigy, Keith Murray. Yeah, Fat Joe.
Not to say that she stole the show, but
She did. But it was an ill verse. That verse was ill.
I want to
Still,
say all
they all killed that, man. But I lean more towards course L and Prodigy's. No, damn. I can't Keith Murray verse.
I got them all before Foxy.
Prodigy was beefing, which is crazy. But go ahead.
Who?
Prodigy and Keith Murray, Mobb Deep and Def Squad. Yeah, they had a beef. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just know Keith Murray is a bugged out dude, and I love him.
Yeah, yeah.
I love Keith Murray for
yeah, he's a real dude, bro.
I just love him for being authentic.
People.
You don't have to know anything. Just Google Keith Murray. He was crazy. He was who you wanted to, like, he was, again, cartoon character, comic book character in real life. He's hilarious.
Keith Murray was nice, bro. Lyrically, he was nice. Niggas sleep on Keith Murray, bro. He was nasty. I'm here to make $1 out of 15 cents. Yo, let my balls. We said,
let my snacks stay on toy and taking this shit. My style is all that. Big bag of chips with the dip.
Fuck all that ignorant shit. Yo, he killed that.
I represent intellectual violence. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he set that off right. But anyway, back
intellectual 1996 was too ill, man. It was just too ill. But Foxy she was on that song, Fat Joe, Keith Murray, Prodigy, and LL Cool J. And Foxy kind of not stole the show. I can't say that. But she was the only girl on the song, so it was like,
you're gonna stand out.
Yeah,
she represented. She held it down.
And this is 8-9 years after Roxanne Shante, MC Lyte blowing up, Queen Latifah blowing up. Because of that, in between that time, I'm trying to be respectful. I don't know, a woman, Lauryn Hill in 96 was blowing up. 96 was just a tremendous year. 95, 96, it was Lauryn Hill. MC Lyte was not big like that.
Not in 96. Yeah, MC Lyte time it faded. So 96, you had Foxy, you had Lauryn Hill, you had Kim.
Right.
Queen Latifah was still doing music.
Yes. Salt and Pepper had a hit with a man. And they had hits.
I know. Oh, I love Salt and Pepper. Don't get it twisted. But lyrically, they weren't spitting with the Foxys, the Kims, the Lauryn Hills. They weren't spitting that.
Right.
That.
So
Herbie wasn't right. Herbie wasn't writing that ill shit.
No. But Foxy Brown being a superstar and showing out on I Shot Ya. The song is called I Shot Ya. She's 15.
Yeah.
She goes on the same song the same year or next year with Jay-Z on Ain't No Nigga. Ain't No Niggas on Nutty Professor soundtrack with Eddie Murphy. Yeah. The Nutty Professor movie is a smash hit movie. Nowadays, we don't even know what a smash movie is anymore. There isn't even Back then, with Independence Day was the biggest film in '96, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes,
maybe
it was.
'97.
Yeah, it was
96.
96.
That's what blew up Will Smith after the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. He's in the midst of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. He blows up with the fucking Independence Day to a different level.
So wait, hold
So
it there. Hold it there. And this we got to talk about, I guess, on another episode. Soundtracks in general, just that was like a big vehicle for artists, a break-in vehicle for artists, especially when Def Jam was manning a soundtrack for a movie, especially like the Nutty Professor stuff like that. Jay and Dame and them, they paid Kevin Liles like, yo, they gave him a bag of money, like, yo, push this. He was like, yo, for real. He's like, nah. He said, yo, nah, we want to pay you to push this song, and that's how that song got on that soundtrack. So, rest is history.
on the Nutty Professor soundtrack, and the Nutty Professor is Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is not what he was 10 years prior. The mid 80s Eddie Murphy and 90s Eddie Murphy are two different Eddie Murphys, but it's still like
Nutty Professor
Kevin Hart is.
Nutty
Yeah,
Professor was huge.
Nutty Professor was a big deal. I really can't even compare it to any movie right now. I don't know how to compare it to any for any kid to understand right now because there's no movie that's big. It's really TV shows and documentaries and YouTube shits and TikTok fucking, viral videos. But back then, movies were a big fucking deal, and summer blockbusters were a big fucking deal, and soundtracks were a big deal.
Big deal.
And Jay-Z being on the Nutty Professor soundtrack for an Eddie Murphy movie. Eddie Murphy, who had the Boomerang soundtrack 3 or 4 years prior.
Classic.
Eddie Murphy, classic. Eddie Murphy was in tune with putting black music on, black artists on.
Yeah.
Everything culminated. Foxy Brown seemed like the breakout star on Ain't No Nigga because women and it was a club record and she killed it. Jay-Z was still underrated under another smash hit for the summer.
Yo, listen, any female rapper that was spitting the way she was spitting is gonna be the breakout. Especially in '96. That was the start because hardcore came out, Foxy's debut came out, Il Nana. Like that was the vehicles for Def Jam to sign her. She took off, she goes platinum. Kim hardcore. That's another story. Big wrote that whole shit. That's some wild shit. And Jay's on that.
We have Dead Presidents, Ain't No Nigga. Ain't No Nigga is a smash. You could play Ain't No Nigga anywhere and we're feeling it. What song on the album though was it Brooklyn's Finest? That was like, wait a minute. Biggie's not just in the video.
These niggas,
They
they're
going
going
back and forth.
back and forth. I mean, yeah, of course. Like when Brooklyn's Finest came out and niggas heard it, man, to a Brooklyn's Finest with a Brooklyn dude producing this track, Clark Kent. Clark's on the hook. Like, yo, that shit was incredible because we knew who Big was. Big was the superstar. He was the man. That was Big's time. And for him and Jay to be going back and forth sparring, and like it's one of the best it's one of the best songs on the album. But to be honest with you, I don't even have it in my top 5 on the album. It's not in my top 5 on Reason Out. And that speaks to because there's a reason lyrically, I just think there's a lot of other songs on the album that are just more loaded than Brooklyn's Finest.
Once you heard the album for the first time and it dropped, even if you didn't listen to it, your boy might listen to it. And they're talking about Biggie dissing Pac. Because Hit 'Em Up, I think Hit 'Em Up dropped by then. Yes, it did.
Yes.
Which is weird because I don't know who dissed who first.
There's a line on there that Jay asked Big to take off. At the end of the last verse, the last Biggie verse, he was like, "I'm the biggest MC in California. I want something like that." Jay asked him to take it off.
I'm warning you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, the if Faith had twins, she probably have two Pacs. Get it?
It was okay.
Yo, there's
Not for
11.
nothing.
There's 11 verses on that album. I mean, on that
That's,
song. 11.
bro,
Oh no, 12.
that's
I
insane.
apologize. 12. 6
Okay,
each.
so just to set it up, he's in the studio with Jay-Z. He saved the Brooklyn's Finest beat for Jay-Z, having played it for Big, and Big is like, I need that beat. That beat is crazy. He's like, I can't give it to you. That's for the dude that I think is nicer than you. Then he goes to the studio to record the song with Jay-Z. Clark Kent tells Dame, Jay-Z, Big, what do you think about if Big jumped on this record? It's all good. Dame apparently says, I just don't want to pay Puff for the record. As long as you get Big on it, we ain't got to pay Puff, we good. He's like, I no doubt. Meanwhile, Clark Kent has Biggie Smalls sitting in a car downstairs.
Mm-hmm. Clark Kent is Biggie's tour DJ. Clark Kent is also a producer on the Junior Mafia album. He did most of the songs. Clark's Big's man. Like, Big is his man. Like, that's my man. And Jay's my man, too. He's telling Big, even though Big's the biggest MC at that time, Biggie's his interest is peaked because as an MC, you're competitive. You're like, I want to see what this nigga got. The nigga Big gets in the studio. Clark tells him, like, yo, my man don't write. He's like, what you mean your man don't write? He sees Jay put music down. He's like, yo, this nigga don't write. Like, yo.
Glad you brought that up. Biggie used to write down his lyrics before he met Jay-Z.
Yes.
After Big met Jay-Z, he stopped writing down his lyrics, which was apparently a year and a half worth of fucking Biggie material. God bless the dead. That is fucking sad. That we got a year and a half's worth, maybe, of Biggie not writing material down.
Yeah. And what's wild is Life After Death, Big flex that muscle. And Life After Death is some of the illest shit ever. Songs like Niggas Bleed, Somebody's Gotta Die. Like, Big seen Jay, like, yo, this nigga don't write? And he this not like, word? Nah, son. I gotta get this nigga on the track. The rest is history. The rest is history. But Jay said Biggie took a while to finally complete all his verses, but he said, yo, they said Jay had most of his shit done.
Every version I've ever heard was Big attempting to repeat, finish the song, going back to it. It took him 4 months, 6 months, whatever it was, to finish that song. That's how long it took. He told Little C's, he's nicer than me.
Like, when Dead Presidents came out, even though it wasn't big for a lot of people and you thought it was boring, niggas, the MCs, Biggie, people like Biggie, they heard that shit and was like, yo, this nigga's different, son. Like, he's not like, all right, so all right, you good, son. Nah, this nigga's nice.
Big was doing what Jay-Z was doing, eventually did, which was, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck works to sell records, guys. I don't care what you guys are talking about. Big was too established. You couldn't really, even if you were at the lunchroom table in junior high school in 1996 and brought up Big, you couldn't knock him. You couldn't say he was whack.
Never. Listen, and this is why Big is great, because he was one of the first to actually, I could be crossover, but I'm still ill. I'm still that nigga. Y'all can't do what I do.
Right.
You can't do what I do.
But again, going back to the Mace conversation, Jay-Z really didn't figure that out until 96. So
yes.
Absolutely. Big was inspired. Big, he obviously inspired Jay-Z obviously inspired Big to stop writing, right? And he did that with Life After Death. But Big clearly inspired Jay-Z on how to make commercial records. Yo, you could do this and still be street. You could still be yourself. You could still be, look, I'm Big. I'm still best eye.
Big and Puff with a blueprint for that. For everybody, for Nas, for whoever came after that actually made that crossover and was able to still make the street records, but also had that commercial hit. There's no If I Rule the World if Biggie and Puff ain't making One More Chance and songs like that, using the R&B samples and still keeping it ill. Like that, Big and Puff, me and you spoke about this. We on our first podcast. They changed the game. That was the blueprint. All right, this is the blueprint. You choose to do what you want to do with it now. You could call commercial, whatever you want to do. Y'all want to stay commercial. Y'all still want to be backpack niggas and still live in the peace, or you want to get some money. I'm just being real. This is just the truth. And Nas figured it out. Jay figured it out. So
okay. For that, after Reasonable Doubt comes out, we got Dead Presidents 1, Dead Presidents 2, Ain't No Nigga, Brooklyn's Finest. Those are the three standouts. Even if, yes, Can't Knock the Hustle.
Reasonable Doubt?
Yes, I'm just saying for us, Can't Knock the Hustle, obviously, yes, is a single.
Yeah.
So apart from Can't Knock the Hustle, Ain't No Nigga, Brooklyn's Finest, Dead Presidents. Oof. How do you rank the songs? How do you rank the songs of Dead Presidents?
Oh my gosh. Oh, part 1 is my favorite. Dead Presidents part 1 is the better one.
That's not on
not on Reasonable Doubt though. That's due to Payday, their first label that they actually left because they weren't promoting them right, so they decided to leave. And they got the that's how they formed Rockefeller, because Payday was fucking up. Clear as day. That's what they said. Jay was like, yo, y'all doing a shitty job, and the things we want y'all to do, we could be doing on our own. So why are we doing this? So that's how they started Rockefeller. They used Priority Records as their distribution at the time. Can't Knock the Hustle, Feeling It. Dead Presidents Part 1 was supposed to be one of the first singles, but it never showed up on Reasonable Doubt. So it's really three.
Feeling It is the second or third single because Dead President is the first single.
Feeling It. I think Can't Knock the Hustle was the second. I think Ain't No Nigga. I think Feeling It was the last one. It was the last single. So
the album pops off with Can't Knock the Hustle.
Yes, that's how you start. Hear that heartbeat, pain in the ass, doing his intro, doing his Scarface, his Tony Montana impression. It was crazy. Yo, listen, it's crazy because I was there in the building at Radio City for the 10th anniversary of Reasonable Doubt. The nigga Jay had pain in the ass. I was in the orchestra seat, so I was there. I was down there. The nigga has pain in the ass in the balcony on the right-hand side, is doing the intro, and the spotlight goes on him. Motherfuckers go like, oh shit. Like just that whole thing, like you hear the heartbeat and everything, the whole place is shaking. You hear the heart boom, 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 boom. And he does the whole shit from Scarface, and that's how you set the album off. And then it goes into Sean and LV. They did the beat. You know, they also did joints on American Gangster. They did a lot of joints for Puff. They did Can't Knock the Hustle. And we hear Mary. Mary kills it. But that's how you set your album off. That's a crazy intro. Jay killed that. Can't Knock the Hustle is, I'm making short-term goals when the weather folds. Just put away the leathers and put ice on the gold. Chilling with enough bail money to free a Big Willie. High stakes, I got more stake than Philly. Shopping sprees, copping 3 Deuce Viva. Ah, yes, it's fully loaded. Ah, yes, bouncing in the Lex Luger. Tight smoke like Buddha. 50 G's to the craft shooter. Yo, niggas, yo, son. Jay's talking some shit that, like the real hustlers that got that money, like you really, like you in Vegas, you taking them trips, and you at that crab tape, like it was a different, bro. Like we didn't hear that. We didn't like, yo, we heard Raekwon and we heard we heard all these G-Rap, we heard all these dudes, but yo, you just felt like, yo, Jay was talking some next shit, like the insight, like, oh my God, this feels different, bro.
He was like the Puff and the Russell Simmons of back in the late 80s.
Listen, Herbie and Teddy Riley What?
I understand. Teddy Riley created music to that point, but Herbie Lovebug, his vision. I want to interview that dude, bro. I want to just speak to that guy for like
We should try
at
to.
least an hour and a half. Yeah, I want to speak to Herbie Lovebug for an hour and a half. What the hell were you doing? Like you knew Salt and Pepper and Kid and Play. You knew Kid. What?
Yeah, he signed them all. Yeah, Kwame, I think. No,
Yes.
not Kwame. Yeah.
So okay, you
Back
had
to
all of that. You had all of that culminating to 1996, which is the official year that rap was commercialized. And
yes.
in this year, you had a diamond in the rough, which was Reasonable Doubt, which was the artist Jay-Z, who is now probably the biggest artist in rap history.
Maybe. I think. I mean, in my eyes.
The number one song. I already know what you have it as.
Oh, you already know.
That gotta be Can
Do
I
you know?
Live?
No. Listen, it's a fight. Yeah, relax. I know. And you know what? And when I explain Can I Live, I take your explanation. You said it when I first met you, when we first met 3 years ago. I love the way you broke it down. You said Can I Live? And Can I Live is it's either 1 or 2 for me. It's 1 or 2. It's a fight between D Evils. The way you broke down Can I Live for me, and I loved it. I use it all the time. I use it on Twitter. I use it when I talk to people about Reasonable Doubt. I was like, yo, my man Ray, Can I Live is the embodiment of Reasonable Doubt, the album cover and everything. Like just the Isaac Hayes sample. Like just it just sounds, it looks like the album cover. You said that to me. I was like, oh shit, he's right. It is. It's so jazzy, it's laid back. The Look of Love is a classic song by itself. So that sample and those strings on that sample is incredible. Like just everything that Jay broke down on Can I Live. And it's crazy. That's one of the last verses Jay wrote. That second verse is one of the last songs that he actually had the pen. Nas was supposed to be on Can I Live. That's the story. He was supposed to have that second verse slot. But since he didn't come to the studio, Jay had to pin that real quick before mastering. And like, man, but Can I Live sounds like the album cover. Like if you wanted to choose a song, like, all right, that's the first song you go to. Like, yo, what's Reasonable Doubt like? I'll play Can I Live first. I would play Can I Live first. But it's not number 1 for me on that album. Number 1 is The Evils. It's The Evils, man. But yes, oh yeah, The Evils is number 1. Can I Live is number 2 for me. Can I Live used to be number 1. It is. Let me tell you something. Can I Live is played. What? Go ahead.
I am in shock.
I knew you were. I had a feeling you was gonna say it was Can I Live.
For you, yes.
Yeah. And it used to be. And you know what? It probably is my favorite song on the album. But I just feel like the Evils is. It just feel it. The Evils for me is like how Take It in Blood is for me on It Was Written. The Evils makes me feel like that second and third verse. It puts me in a different place. And when I seen Jay break it down on the Reasonable Doubt VH1 Classic Albums documentary, the way he breaks it down, and I see the enthusiasm how he breaks it down. He's like, yo, he said this is one of my he said it's his favorite Jay-Z song. He says it's his favorite song. And the way he describes it, the way he breaks it down, I'm like, oh my God. It was always number 1 or 2 for me. Always. Even since a kid. Like, it's just the way he breaks it down. That second verse, the way he strings. Thinking back when we first learned to use rubbers, he never learned. So in turn, I'm kidnapping his baby's mother. the craziness about how ill that is like, yo, it's like, yo, you on the block. Me and you got the same lessons. The OGs taught us the same shit. Like, yo, my man, yo, learn how to use a condom, son. Don't be impregnating these shorties out here. Like, yo, other dude chose the other route. He was running up in shorty, no precaution. Now she's pregnant. Now he has the baby mom. So now he has the baby mother to kidnap. So you put yourself in that situation.
Or really, I took that line as the same way as you. We learned the same thing, but he just could never get the grasp of it. Like, we're trying the same thing out, but for whatever reason, however way you got there, you fucked up. Yeah. And you, for whatever reason, you got the disadvantage.
Yes.
And I'm gonna take advantage of it. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Nah, yo, listen. That second verse, man. We used to fight for building blocks. Now we fight for blocks with buildings that make a killing. The closest of friends when we first started. What grew apart as the money grew. We soon grew black-hearted. Thinking back when we first learned to use rubbers. He never learned, so in turn, I'm kidnapping his baby's mother. My hand around the collar, feet in the cheese. She said the taste of dollars was shitty, so I fed her 50s. About his whereabouts, I wasn't convinced. I kept feeding the money till the shit started to make sense. Who could ever foresee it? We used to stay up all night at slumber parties. Now I'm trying to rock this bitch to sleep. All the years we were real close. Now I see his fears through her tears. No, she wishing we were still close. Don't cry, it is to be. In time, I take away your miseries and make it mine. The way he breaks that shit down, like that whole thread from that first line, like we used to fight for building blocks. Like we was in daycare together playing with blocks. We used to fight for building blocks. Now we fight for blocks, the buildings that make it killing. The closest of friends when we first started. Like all of that. Like, yo, listen, you grew up in the hood. You've heard these type of stories. Like dudes that grew up with each other and then cats start hustling and money starts getting in the picture. And then money gets the best of two dudes. Money becomes between that friendship.
Just success in general.
The success, yeah. And Jay's talked about that all throughout his career, from Reasonable Doubts till now. You know what I'm saying? Even on Black Republicans. Like, yo, It's just, man. But yeah, D Evils that's my number one, man. And then it's Can I Live?
D Evils is number one. That threw me off.
Yeah, listen. Yo, listen, bro. Jay left Earth for me on the Eagles, man. Like it's crazy that's a gospel record that DJ Premier sampled. It's crazy. That's a gospel record, and then of course Murder Is the Case. And then we got the Prodigy line in there, Illuminati on my mind, soul, and my body. Secret Societies. Yo.
I hope I mentioned them when I say that 96 Prodigy was one of the rappers that we were mentioning at the lunch table. That's crazy because The Evils was it's great, but I just don't have it as a better song than Can Out the Hustle or any of the singles. As a song, I love The Evils. I just think Can I Live is a better song.
I mean, yo, listen.
You know what I mean?
I won't argue with you with that because I'll tell you, it's 1 and 2 for me, and it's been a toss-up these last several years.
I don't know if Can I Live is the best song on Reasonable Doubt. I think Reasonable Doubt is suffered through the same thing that every other 90s album suffered through, and is like you don't need that many songs on an album. And I like every song that's on Reasonable Doubt. I'll get into why. Okay, I'll accept that it's a classic because everybody thinks it's a classic, whatever. But there's 3 too many songs on there, 4 too many songs on there.
14.
It's 14, 15, it's 15 songs.
Well, it's 15 now, 90, part 2. 98, that was added the 98 version when they re-released it.
Okay. Yeah. So D was number 1. Can I Live is number 2. For me. We're going with top 5. Ain't gonna rank the whole 15 songs. So
I mean, we could top
So
5.
what's number 3? What's your number 3? It's neither Cannot the Hustle. It's not Ain't No Nick. What is number 3?
All right, so number 1 is
It's not
DE.
Brooklyn's Finest.
I told you Brooklyn Finance is not in my top 5.
Top 5.
No, it's not. I love it, but that just goes to me. Listen, this album, I love this. It's my favorite rap album. So I'm gonna rank it very. I'm a nitpick at it. You know what I'm saying? Like even with Can I Live and D Evils, it's all like for the longest, it's always been a toss up between those two. Like, yo, which one is number 1 and number 2? The last several years has been D Evils for me. But listen, I'm gonna tell you straight up, my mother be 60 this year. Her favorite Jay-Z song is Can I Live? We play that at our family functions. You hear me? Like that's how cool my mom is. My mom grew up with her kids. Like she loves rap. She loves Jay-Z. Can I Live? Jay-Z's first album. This is not like a commercial hit. My mom loves commercial shit. She bought a CD. Oh, I love that song. She bought a single and she bought a whole album. That's how we used to get CDs in the crib. Can I Live is her favorite Jay-Z song. Yeah, we play that like it's, you know how people play Family Reunion and all them type of songs, or you know what I'm saying? Like, Frankie Beverly and Maze. Like, yo, we play Can I Live? Like that gets tossed in that mix. And you can hear my mom singing the lyrics and everything. It's wild. So Can I Live has a special place in my heart. If you was to ask me about Reasonable Doubt, that would be the first song I would play. I'm like, go ahead, take that. And when you broke it down to me a few years ago, yo, it's the embodiment of the album cover. Like when you look at the album cover, you see Can I Live? Like you listen to Can I Live, you look at the album like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like it's just the hustle mentality, like all that, man. Like Can I Live is number 2 for me. And I got to break that down. But number 3 is Dead Presidents Part 2. I got Dead Presidents Part 2 is number 3 on that list of the top 5 songs on Reasonable Doubt. I have it over Can Knock the Hustle. I have it over Feeling It. Dead Presidents 2 is 3 verses. It's not my favorite of the Dead Presidents. I love Part 1. I'm mad they never put it on the actual album. But man, Jay was really going in on that Part 2, man. Like he was going in on Part 1, but Part 2 is just a continuation of that. And I have that at number 3. Number 4, I have you want me to talk about Dead Presidents Part 2?
I really don't. For me, Dead Presidents Part 1 and 2 is like the beat is the same. I think
Same beat, yes.
that there's an extra verse. The third verse is different.
Yeah, Part 1 only had 2 verses. Part 2 has 3 verses. Yeah.
Wait. There's a Part 3.
Yeah, he made a Part 3. I hated it. I didn't like it.
Not the one that I think he did it like when it was what's his thing? American Gangster came out, some shit like that, or
It's around that time, and yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
he had to chill out. Like he was full fledged. I am
He didn't have to do that. Like, and people requested him to put that out, and he actually put it out around when Blueprint 3 came out. He actually put it out there. Yeah, when he was promoting Blueprint 3, I think he put it out there. If I'm not mistaken.
He was. I can't listen. He's in full fledged. I am American mogul mode. Like I can't. It's a different dude. So that was number 3. Their president's Part 2 is number 3 on the album for you.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is Politics as Usual. Politics as Usual, bro. That song with that fucking the stylistic sample, like it's catching me skating through your town, putting it down. Y'all relating, no waiting, I make your block infrared hot. I'm like Satan. Like, yo, just man. Jay was talking to some G code shit on that song, and I didn't appreciate Politics as Usual till like a few years later. because I can't front when it first came out, I used to skim over it, and then I had to come back as I got deep into like me being a Jay fan, and I'm like, yo, and I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh my god, like his whole flow, like the way he cut it off, like I know him and Drew the Damager, they had that same flow, like they would spit a bar, and the way they cut off a bar, it would lead into the next bar. The way that, like, you feel my triumph never, feel my pain, I'm lying. Low in the levels I am, the best that's ever came. The game changes like my mind just ain't right. You rewind, get this dough. I guess it ain't your night. Sucking me in like a vacuum. I remember taking me back. He said what he said. Telling my family I'll be back soon. That was a symbol. The way he rhyming, like he'll cut off a word and he start a new bar. Like the flow on that was just like, oh man. Yeah, I love Politics as Usual, man. That's number 4 for me. And then number 5, Regrets. The last song on the album, the last song on the original Reasonable Doubt on the 14-track joint. Regrets is probably as most vulnerable, one of the most vulnerable Jay songs on there that you're gonna probably get. It's probably Jay-Z and Sean Carter. And, he's talking about, losing friendships, talking about hustling, all of that, embodies all of that, man. That's my number 5.
I don't have regrets as it was cool. Politics as Usual. Yeah. To me, as a song, is better than The Evils. It's better than 20. Like, it's up there with, damn near up there with Cannot the Hustle and Ain't No Niggas Different.
Yeah.
Politics as Usual is just din, 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 just the way it. That shit is dope. Politics as Usual is just the ill B-side record. Damn near. It's the epitome of damn near a hit. Is this a hit? I'm not sure.
It's that sample, man. It's the stylistic sample, man.
Yeah.
I took the Tito in the district. Blessed me with some VS somethings I could live with. Stop fronting. And for the dough I made, gotta get shit of praise. No disrespect to you. Make sure your word is true. I'm taking wages down in Vegas just in case Tyson have a major night off. That's clean money. The tax write-off. You ain't seen money in your life when it comes to this cheese. Y'all like 3 blind mice. I'm smoking bros who punt Willie. I expose. The furthest you Chili's been is the Poconos. Like, yo, Jay.
That's okay. I wasn't, again, 96. I was 13 when the album came out. Literally 13 years old. I didn't understand what he was talking about. By the time I really listened to it, volume 1 was out. So that was a year later. Once he said some shit like about you like the 3 blind mice, and then he said at first you been Poconos. I'm like, I don't even know if I knew where the Poconos was at.
Yo, listen, because I remember back in the day in the 80s and the 90s, like you felt like you was the man if you took a trip to the Poconos. Like, yo, you went to the Poconos? Like, oh, you going to Mount Airy Lodge or whatever, you gonna sit in the champagne tub and all that shit, the big glass. Like you thought you was a Willie. And when he said that shit, it's like, damn, son, because a lot of cats are going to the Poconos thinking they was like, yo, man, we took Shorty to Poconos. That was a big thing. I was like, yo, you going to Red Lobster for graduation. Back in the day, it was something. And Jay's like, nah, that ain't nothing. Like,
we ranked the songs top 5.
Wait, what's your ranking?
The rest of them. I think the singles, Can't Knock the Hustle's up there.
Okay.
Politics as Usual. I'm not even sure which is better.
No, listen, I love Can't Knock the Hustle, bro. I love it. I love the album. You know what I'm saying? Can't Knock the Hustle he was saying some shit.
I'd say Dead Presidents, Politics as Usual, Can't Knock the Hustle. Just as pure songs to me. As soon as I play it, because even D Evils, I understand what people trying to say about D Evils, but maybe that's number 4 or 5.
Listen,
Friend or Foe is not talked about enough. The
no, no,
sarcasm.
nah. Listen, amongst J fans is revered. It's revered. I'm telling you that. It's
I
I I think it's revered more so. I like Friend of Foe 98 on volume 1 more than I like the original Friend of Foe. Jay killed that shit. I was on street just watching.
they're both classic.
Yeah, he 98 Friend of Foe 98 is just
They're both
that's that fucking New York sarcasm. A gun in your face, and that's all you can come up with. I'm done talking, backed up and clapping. Wanted to add them and do me a favor, dude. Get 2 ice cubes up past them. Take that ice up for the nicest MC. And please, yo, tell Big he's unbelievable. Friend or foe, biatch. Like just
so
that whole shit. Crazy.
I think regrets fits, but it's like
Bro.
to me, regrets is not as good as Politics as Usual. It's not as good as Brooklyn's Finest. It's not as good as Cannot the Hustle, Their Presidents, 22 Tools. I don't think Regret. I don't think Bring It On is on there that level.
If you
I
listen
don't.
to the content, if you listen to the hook,
Yes. Again,
bro. Oh,
if we're going by Jay-Z lyrics, Jay-Z's contribution
yeah.
to Reasonable Doubt, I don't know if he has like there's not much up and down between that with Jay-Z's contribution. Like he really gave all out. I'm about to die. Here's my best I can give you. Effort for the Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah.
I'm just talking as musically.
I get it.
Regrets,
I get what you're saying.
Bring It On, Cashmere Thought. Like to me, those last 3 or 4 songs are good.
Yeah.
I could never come up with that shit. I don't think. I don't think I have what it takes to come up with
Cashmere
those
Thoughts.
songs.
Cashmere Thoughts is I think it's
Okay,
underrated. But
Cashmere Thoughts actually like it's jaded. It's jaded.
no,
No,
that's politics as usual.
as far as yep, I just got
Clark Kent produced Cashmere Thoughts. Is Jay he's like I talk jewels and spit diamonds, all cherry like a hymen when I'm rhyming with remarkable timing. Cashmere like that shit. The Lotus.
fits.
He
That
he
fits.
yeah.
I don't know if Coming of Age fits. So maybe those
Ooh.
last 3 songs, the 3 Bring It On, Regrets.
Coming to age is it was supposed to be
Yeah,
for Shaheem. Jay wrote Bleak's verse. It was originally for Shaheem. Shaheem couldn't show up. So he gets Bleak to do it. Bleak orders like there was at Clark Kent's crib. I know the location. There was at Clark's crib. The dude Bleak orders like 6 bacon cheeseburgers from Wendy's. Just try and get over on Jay. Jay was like, you better eat all 6 of them burgers and you better memorize this verse. Bleak eats all the burgers, memorizes the verse, and he spits it. That's the history of that. But that song right there, like just the back and forth between the OG and the young dude on the block trying to hustle. A G, I rhyme with you for free. I want the long term bitches and riches. Like that shit is real shit, bro. Like that was a test. Like, all right, youngin, I got you.
again, I don't.
Go ahead, man. Talk, man.
That's why when they compare something to Illmatic, it was so smart to cut that shit off. And I said it about it was Stillmatic. If you're gonna make a Stillmatic, if you're saying it's Stillmatic, like this is still Illmatic, cut it off at 10 songs, and everyone would go crazy. But again,
The game
it's the
changed.
mid 90s. It's the
Yeah.
mid 90s. Rap's being commercialized. Is music, the music industry is hitting the peak of what it's going to be commercially. It was in vogue to do more than 10, 12 songs. So I understand that, but if you kept that at 11 or 12 songs, my opinion obviously is the anomaly. Everyone, too many people consider it a classic. So I consider it a classic because so many of us, especially in our generation, consider it a classic. So I do that. But Illmatic is what it is for that for whatever reason. And like, look, it was written as not, and Reasonable Doubt is considered a classic. I said it all the time, but quietly, I would always say it's like 3 or 4 songs too long. And I felt like this about every album in the mid 90s and late 90s.
And that's fine.
Yeah, you're
That's
gonna hear
fine.
me say that repeatedly. 3 or 4 songs too long.
Illmatic
And
set the bar for you.
it's not that Illmatic's at the bar, to be honest. It's just the fact that I think that's the smartest way to make music.
Well,
Some people complain about making music today. They say that it's like, oh, they do that intentionally nowadays, where the song is 2 minutes. I'm like, to be honest, why do I need to hear your song for more than 2 minutes? What the hell are you talking about for the third verse?
man, we came a long way from the 70s when songs were like 5 minutes, 7 minutes long, 6 minutes. You know what I mean? But that's not hip hop. We
No,
came
no,
a long
no.
hip hop.
We're on the same. It's the same topic though. It's the
Okay.
same topic.
Even with hip hop, like it used to be, I was so used to 3 verses. Now you don't get that. It's rare. Like Lloyd Banks is one of the first albums in a long time that new Lloyd Banks album that he was given 3 verses. Like you don't see that shit now. Like even Nas, Jay, like they give you 2 verses on certain songs and that's it. I miss that third verse, bro. I want that third verse.
You listen to an entire 2021 Lloyd Banks album with 3 verses on each song.
Yeah, I listen to it. Yeah, the album's dope. Banks got a good album, man. Yeah,
You listen to every song.
I listened to it. I only played the album like 3 times. Yeah, I listened to it. Yeah, because I had to. Yeah, it was everyone was talking about it, so I'm like, all right, I gotta give it. I gotta show it some love, and I understand what people, and that was one of the things. People were like, yo, he actually brought back the third verse. That was one of the big things, and I appreciated it. I did. I missed that. I missed artists giving 3 verses.
I'm going to have to just press play I guess tomorrow morning on my way to work. So I I don't know if we could really
What?
um
Listen, it was this album to me is incredible, man. It's one of the. It's definitely to me Jay's most lyrical album to date. Is people still finding lyrics on this album to this day? People, even on Twitter, like, yo, man, I ain't catch that bar until like recently. Like, it's incredible because in that was my reasoning why I say it was ahead of its time because a lot of people just overlooked it. It was overlooked. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, just because of the climate we were in, so many albums coming out, so many people were in their prime, making great music. Jay was just coming up. It was unfortunate timing, possibly. Um, but man, when you really dissect this album, you listen to the lyrics. If you really love lyrics, Jay was he left Earth. He was in his bag on a lot of these songs, man. Like it's not
every
too many.
song.
Every song. I don't. There's only one song on this album I skip. That's "Ain't No Nigga." Just and it's not a bad song. It's just that it's the single. It was the most. It was the most, heard. It was radio. It was everywhere. Not even fuss the soundtrack. But man, I can play Reasonable Doubt from beginning to end and enjoy it. And the fact that I was actually able to be in the building for the 10th anniversary of Reasonable Doubt, and this is the joint that gave us, in the concert, like this is the breakdown of the making of Reasonable Doubt from Double XL. Like, yo, just the fact I was there and seeing Jay did the album backwards. He started from Regrets and worked his way all the way up to Can't Knock the Hustle. So the fact that he did that shit in reverse and it was he had the orchestra playing. He comes on stage with the two-tone Lexus, the old school Lexus. He rolls on stage with that shit. And a freaking 50-person orchestra is playing Reasonable Doubt, one of the illest hip-hop albums ever. You got people on the violins, cellos, like just Questlove is on the drums. Freaking Just Blaze is the DJ. Like, it was ill. Pain in the ass is in the balcony doing the introduction for the album. Jay does Big's verses on Brooklyn's Finest. Like, all of that, man. Beyonce does Mary J. Blige's verses on Can't Knock the Hustle. Yeah, because Mary was doing her tour at the time, so she couldn't make it. Yo, just the fact that whole night, Jay came out with the tuxedo, and like, it was special, man. And it just made you feel like in that moment, like, yo, damn, this album was really ill. And it was crazy. I seen Reasonable Doubt 10th anniversary, and I seen Illmatic's 20th anniversary at Radio City. I seen both of them at Radio City. I was fortunate enough to see Nas with Dave Chappelle. Nas did the whole Illmatic, you know what I'm saying, in the Radio City. Like, that was just those two albums for me. Like, that's incredible. But for me, Reasonable Doubt is heavy, man. It's my favorite hip-hop album of all time. Incredible. Yeah.
Reasonable Doubt is your favorite hip hop album of all time?
Yes. My personal, yeah. I'm not saying it's the best. That's my favorite hip hop album. Yeah.
Better than Doggy Style?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's nothing wrong with that. Like, you can have your personals. That's my personal favorite hip hop album of all time. Reasonable Doubt.
I just secretly think it's kind of boring. And
it's not a secret if you tell us.
I was like, my boys we were all listening to him, like, for the most part it's cool, but even when I got everything, I understood everything, I'm just like, to me it was bougie street rap. Bougie. To me, it was always that. Even when you understood everything, it was like, definitely, come on, man. He has riddles.
It was because you couldn't relate. It was, I mean,
no. I'm saying, even when nobody could, barely anyone can relate. He is talking about being the 1% of the 1% in the hood. So I hated that argument. I don't even want to go there. Actually, we should go there. Everyone can relate to Illmatic for the most part. Can relate to Ready to Die for the most part, because either you knew somebody that was like that, the people that sounded like they were involved in Ready to Die, Only Built for Cuban Links, it felt like that was your brother or your cousin or whatever. Reasonable Doubt was the guy that you were not privy to. He was 2, 3, 4 steps. You ain't supposed to talk to this guy.
We just spoke about this.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, so that perspective is different. Like, yeah, we didn't see that too much. You didn't see that too much in the hood. But when you did see it, like,
even I'm speaking on the album in general, how it sounded to me. It's exactly how it felt, like that person that was like, I get it. And I've had this argument since even when I understood the album 20 years ago. 24 years ago, 97. Okay, I get it. But you're not going to tell me this is more fun more fun than Doggy Style. I'm gonna be
No,
entertained more than Doggy Style, or you know
I
what I
get it.
mean? Like
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but that's why I'm saying this is my personal favorite hip hop album of all time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can have your personals. I love Doggy Style. It's one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. But I love and I enjoy Dead Presidents and Can I Live and the D Evils. Like, cause I love the lyricism. Like, it speaks different to me. Like, I just love when I understood that and breaking down the lyrics. Like, that just it hit me. And this dude's from Brooklyn. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like he to me, like, all right, we spoke about this earlier. He was that OG on the block. He was giving you a different perspective than what you were seeing. Like, he wasn't that common dude on the block, rowdy, loud cat, hustling. This Jay was more reserved, laid back. Like, you wanted to be that cool dude. Like, yo, dad, yo, son. Like, oh, he got that two-tone Lexus. Like, oh shit, who that Jay? Oh, it was different. He
the
was a
one
different.
percent, he was the 1%, or he embodied, or the image was the 1% of the 1% from the hood.
Mm,
And he is currently a part of the 1% of the 1%,
yeah.
by the way.
Yes.
In this country, at the very least, and definitely this country, maybe the world. Um, and with that, even with the slang, this is kind of funny, but it's true. I don't remember another album saying pause before Reasonable Doubt. I wasn't even saying pause back then because he was hanging out with Uptown dudes. But he said, shout out to my nigga saying pause after saying some fucked up shit.
That was on Can I Live Part 2.
So that's 97, 98.
98. Well, I'm saying they were saying pause on he started saying the pause more on volume 1. You didn't really hear the pause too much on Reasonable Doubt until you heard 98 when they added Can I Live Part 2.
I didn't hear it on volume one.
Yeah, pause on what's the name on Who You With?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
but
but I mean
okay.
that's
Yeah. So okay. The only reason why I mention that is because I always get into this conversation about like the oldest slang word to me right now is like either chilling. I'm chilling. It's still you can still say I'm chilling to this day. Yo, what up? Yo, I'm chilling.
yeah,
That's been cool since we were kids.
of course.
Pause was not around back then, but
No,
Pause was birthed around 95, around mid 90s, Harlem. And he
yeah,
was hanging around Harlem dudes. But it's might be the only song I remember in the 90s that said pause.
yeah. I mean, as far as I can think of right now, yeah.
Yeah, I could Google it, but I didn't want one of these sneaky nerd rap dudes to have this over me on YouTube. I got this.
You know it's coming.
We got little known facts about whatever the fuck we're talking about.
Well, man,
Um,
yo, but wait, did you? Oh, here we go.
go ahead. Go
Nah,
ahead.
I was gonna say, was there any verses on Reasonable Doubt that just stood out to you like the most? Like, do you have any favorite verses on this album? Because I got a few.
Damn. You go ahead first.
Oh man, I mean, I spoke about one of them earlier. The second verse on The Evils and the third verse on The Evils. Like those verses to me, like him just threading that whole story from we used to fight for building blocks, now we fight for blocks with buildings that make a killing, learning how to use rubbers. Like that shit is ill. Like the whole verse leads to the consequences of like you not using your rubber. Now you got this baby mom. I'm kidnapping her. I'm getting all this information out of her. And now I know about your whereabouts. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Because you just went a different direction. Like that shit to me is ill. And then the third verse on The Evils, when he ties the fucking Remy from Minister Society to Remy the Liquor, like that that shit was incredible to me, man. Like,
I always found that part of the Evils um cheesy.
really?
Yeah, I don't know why. And I'm about to say some shit that you might find totally cheesy.
What is it?
Serve like Sampras got the whole US Open.
Yeah, nah, I love this. That's Can I the Hustle. Yeah, that shit was
I
ill.
didn't listen. I didn't
Serve
even
like Sampras, play fake rappers like a campers. Latigra, Paul, you're too eager. Like, yo, nigga, he killed that.
but he said I got the whole US Open.
Yeah, I know.
At the time, I didn't listen to it. I was just repeating the words and everything because it's a single in New York City. It was popping. Like I said, Volume 1 was when I first started paying attention
US
to him.
Open, advantage, Jigga, advantage, of course, tennis.
That that is what made me say, like after he did Mace, and I went back to Reasonable Doubt, and I was like, he said that got the whole US Open advantage. That verse
That
on
verse,
Reasonable Doubt.
third verse on Can I the Hustle. Incredible. That
That
nigga's
okay.
then
So
punching the
that's the
clock.
one.
The lake munching, lay back munching, sipping Remy on the rocks. My crew, something to watch, nothing to stop. Unstoppable scheme on the ice. I got the hot your crew. I gotta let you niggas know the time like Movado. My motto, stack rocks like Colorado. I done walk the champagne, Chris Styles bottle. What's the damn shame what you're not though? Me, slick like a gato, you fucking Jay-Z. My pops knew exactly what he did when he made me try to get a nut in. He got a nut in. What? Straight bananas. Can a nigga see me? Got the US Open. Advantage Jigga. Serve like Sampras. Play fake rappers like a campers. Latigra. Paul, you're too eager. You ain't having it? Good. Me either. Let's get together, make this whole world believe us, huh? Am I arraignment? Scheming? That was Black Spatter Sports and Entertainment until we even breathing. Long as I'm breathing, can't knock the way a nigga even. Fuck you, even. Like,
that verse. Yes. If there was a verse on Reasonable Doubt that I remember like waking me up about him, it was that verse. Glad you just decided that because I'm such a sports dude. I didn't think everyone was into tennis like that. And
oh
the
man,
fact that he knew about tennis,
yeah,
that told me that, you know what? That verse is the verse that revealed to me that he was super smart.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
why, but it's like you know way too much about a sport that not everybody knows about. And what the hell are you up to, bro? That's
No,
what that.
and that
Now that you asked me that question about the best verse, yeah.
listen,
Aside from destroying Mace, yeah, going back to that verse, revisiting that verse,
yo,
yeah.
listen. That's why I love Jay, man, because the attention to detail that he puts in some of these raps that a lot of people just don't pay attention to. Like you said, like yo, if you don't watch tennis, you're not gonna catch a lot of those lines. You're not gonna know about Vantage and Pete Sampras and like you know what I'm saying? Like it's just stuff like that. Like yo, if you when you catch it, you're like, oh my god, like oh, and then you watching the U.S. Open one day years later, you like you see Pete Sampras' name, like that Jay Z. Oh, you know how many people said shit like that to me? My mom, like, I didn't know he was talking about this. Like, it's incredible, man. Like, I love that attention to detail. I love paying attention to detail. That's why I love lyrics. I love breaking down lyrics. I love when we do this. I love when we did Nas and breaking down those lyrics when we did Taking the Blood. Like, yo, it's because it's certain things. I think a lot of people out there, like certain listeners, they might miss it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, for us, like, yo, we listen to this show all the time and, you know, we catch it. But for some other people out there, they're like, oh my God, I never caught that part. Like, yo, that's the brilliance of rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the brilliance of people like Jay, people like Nas. Like, it's incredible, man. You know? Wow.
Actually, yeah, that is the brilliance of him. Looking back on it, since his first album, he was doing that. Just, I'm not gonna write anything down out of And really, that we didn't get into that. It was birthed out of the fact that he was just obviously his way of making money was being on the street
Yeah, he
and
was
being
hustling.
he was on the street hustling. Uh,
Memorize
and
the writing on a piece of paper. You got tired of writing on the piece of paper on the corner, so he started memorizing. Rhymes like like it was an exercise. That's what he says. And yeah, the rest is history, man. Um,
that's 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 not just incredible. That was game changing. That was ahead of its time. If we're gonna talk about something that's ahead of their time,
there you go.
Jay-Z being great at rap and being a rap mogul, being a great businessman and a great artist at the same time is ahead of his time.
Yes.
Because Prince couldn't do that. Prince regretted the fact that he didn't do that, right?
Mm,
Um, and
shit.
something as small as not writing down your lyrics and it being more effective to perform that way for the recording of it
Yeah.
was something that Jay-Z did. Um, I don't know if Reasonable Doubt was just such a niche, intentional album. It wasn't gonna be Illmatic or Ready to Die, where there was a lot of intention behind both albums because of who was attached to it. Large Professor had the biggest name to Illmatic, and that meant a lot in rap circles, rap media.
Mhm.
And with Ready to Die, Puff wasn't the biggest guy yet, no, but he was attached to Uptown Records with Andre Harrell.
Yeah.
Biggie by that point was on a remix to a couple of or one of Mary J. Blige records,
Yeah.
Flavor in Your Ear remix. So Jay-Z was not gonna be anticipated on Reasonable Doubt. No, he was not gonna be anticipated. He didn't necessarily figure out his commercial formula by then, but he figured out, oh shit, the Raekwons and the Nas and the Biggies of the world, they're doing it like this. I gotta slow the fuck down. So he figured it out then, and it was like it was obviously great. It was classic, uh, and shit.
That verse. That I'm glad. Damn. That's an ill verse you chose though. That turned out
I
that shit.
just know that I just know that it fucked me up when I realized what he said.
Yeah.
It fucked me up. I got the U.S. Open, the double entendre to it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
how I was so jealous that I didn't say some shit like that? That's what it was. That's how you know it was a great line or a great, invention. Oh, I wish I came up with that shit. Serve like sandwich. Got the whole US Open.
Man, this
What?
nigga.
I couldn't. I'm still jealous that I didn't come up with that. I got the US Open.
Yeah,
That's
man.
incredible. That's
Yep.
incredible.
And it's
Um,
the average. It sounds so simple, but it's not.
exactly. It's what Little Wayne, little later on.
Hmm.
What's the word? Ooh, people gonna hate me for this, but he exploited. Those are punchlines. So what Jay Z and Big was doing back then, punchlines were like almost a part of your technique. That
Yeah,
was like footwork. It was one of your post moves. A
yeah,
punchline was.
yeah. That was a
It
part of
wasn't
it's part
your
of the art
repertoire.
repertoire. Yep.
Right. It wasn't the thing. So
Right.
Jadakiss turned it into like the slam dunk. He was the
Yeah.
Vince Carter of rap.
Yeah.
Jay-Z knew how to slam dunk. He had that in his repertoire, but he also could score for it. He could also play defense. He had an all-around game, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike
But
Jordan of rap.
that line for me has been to this
Crazy.
day I'm still jealous. Like that is such a fucking like you said, it's such a naturally easy, like flowing metaphor to understand, and like, oh my God, you every man is trying to come up with a line like that for every girl when you're 18 years old and trying to get some pussy. That's what that line is to me, bro. As smooth as possible, like,
And it was crazy because around that time, everyone had that distinctive voice. Like Big, of course, we spoke on Big. He had that voice. Meth, he had that voice. You know what I'm saying? Like it just sounded different. And Jay didn't sound like everyone else. Like his voice wise, like he just sounded different. You know what I'm saying? He had that high pitch, little high pitch, but it wasn't like growly or raspy. It wasn't like monotone or nothing like that. It was just different. And I think he had to go to routes where he had to be witty and clever and use the double entendres more so than a lot of other people. And I think that speaks to his brilliance because he made simple lines, loaded. Like that's the brilliance of him. Like it make a simple line sounds like the common line, and then you look back, you listen, like, oh shit, like
you
oh my god.
I think the opposite. I just think he actually was. He did sound like everyone. Like his flow was very similar to everyone at the time,
Mm.
but he just. I guess I forgot to say this too. I think I did say it actually. No matter what tempo he was rapping on, it
Mhm.
was so clear.
Yeah,
Everything he said
clap.
is to this day,
Yeah,
you don't really mistake in any words that he pronounces.
yeah,
You know exactly what he said in terms of the word that the verbiage that he's using, but you
100%.
may not necessarily know what exactly he's telling you because it's encrypted.
Understand it. Yeah, it's crypted, it's coded, but once you understand it, understanding is the best part. You're like, oh shit, and
Right.
that's what gravitated me towards him. Because when I started catching shit like that, and I'm like, nah, this nigga's different. I'm like, because it was a certain shit. I'm like, nah. Like, if you didn't watch Higher Learning, that line in that third verse on D Evils, you're not gonna catch that shit.
But
You
who
know what I'm saying?
didn't? At
I
that
mean,
point, if you a reasonable doubt,
if you go back and if you're like a kid now and you go, all right, go listen to Reasonable Doubt, I'm like, all right, what the fuck are they people talking about? You know what I'm saying? Throughout my junior high years, it was all friendly. But now the higher learners got the Remy and me lick off, invaded my kidneys, got me ready to lick off. Mama, forgive me. It would go right on. You're like, all right. And then once you find out what the fuck, you're like, oh shit. Remy's the kid's name, the white supremacist in the movie. He's on the clock tower shooting at people, licking off. And Remy Martin, the drink. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we knew that. But a casual person just listen to these bars. Once they do the knowledge to it, they're like, oh shit. And I think a lot of people, and that's why I think a lot of people, when it comes to lyricism, they overlook Jay a lot because I think it's a lot of things they don't catch because it sounds so simple.
still,
I still, yeah, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. The conversations I have on Twitter with certain people, and then when you break certain things down to them, or someone breaks it down for them, like, oh shit, okay, I get it. Like, wow, I didn't catch that. Grown people our age still catching things off reasonable doubt.
yeah, okay, but I don't.
What?
Who whoever has Jay Z out of that from our generation
Be surprised,
has
bro.
Jay Z out of that top 5,
You be
top 10.
surprised.
I would call them an asshole to their face. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Anything that anyone has to offer besides the voice, like there's nothing. He figured it out. He figured out his potential, his capability, um, skill set, technique wise. You can't argue with it. You just can't.
What people do, and I'm
No,
telling you,
there is no argument. I don't
I'm
care what.
Ray. I'm telling you, as a J fan, as a big Jay
I
Z fan,
understand. You're a stan.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. Listen, the amount of people on hip hop Twitter that are fans of like Nas, are fans of Big, they don't give Jay his props when it comes to lyricism, technique, any of that shit. They're
What are
like,
they talking about?
bro,
What are they talking about? Listen, that's why at first Twitter was fun. It was cool. But after a while, once I see I am a devil's advocate. I have to play devil's advocate to my own thoughts because I try to not take myself, any one of my thoughts, that seriously. If you don't do that, you don't understand what trying to be smart is. I'm attempting to be smart.
that's
I'm
why
attempting to be the smartest person I can possibly be.
I
If
told
you tell me that Jay Z did not study technique and he changed every type of way, he changed the way that he fucking tried to rap.
bro, people have Jay-Z as overrated as a lyricist.
I won't speak to these people ever.
Well,
I don't want them to interact with me.
I listen. I don't engage with. You can't engage with everybody on Twitter. And certain things I see, I'm like, nah. But those people out there, man. You know what I'm
That is
saying?
a non-intellectual statement. Knock it off. If we're if we're talking about this is a trade, right? Like if we're talking about this is a skill that you can make money off of. Think about if it wasn't about being famous, right? You didn't
Yeah,
know who these people were, and we're talking about construction workers, and it's a trade, it's a
yeah,
skill set.
yeah.
You don't want to fucking perform your trade or your skill set like a guy like this. Obviously, shut the fuck up, yo. What do you? Whoever said that, like, shut the fuck, yo. Just please do
Ah,
me a favor. Get out of my office.
can't wait to
Just get out.
use this.
Get out of my office. You can
Yo,
please do
listen.
me a favor. Do me a favor and make sure he never comes back in our office again, in the building again. Whoever speaks like that, it just doesn't make sense. It
Yo,
just
listen.
is what it is.
They out there. The same, and it's motherfuckers. The same thing. We back at to Nas. The same people that can't stand it was written. They felt like it was like not lyrically good. I'm like, nah, bro. Like it's certain things I just draw the line. And I stop entertaining.
Right.
I'm like, I
But
can't.
okay, so what they're trying to say is that basically reasonable doubt, the guy who's the vocalist on Reasonable Doubt, the lyricist, embodied, he's the authentic version of what it was written was attempting to be, right? Okay, he was more authentic than the guy because he's not Pablo. He himself, this guy right here with the cigar in the background, is not Escobar.
Hell
I
no.
don't care how much money he made off
Oh,
fucking drugs.
nobody. Jay will tell you no. Escobar.
Right. So, but that's what he was trying. That's what he was portraying.
Right.
Right. Okay. But it was still closer to what Nas was in the street to that. So that was the argument in '96.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. At
Whatever.
the end of the day, if we're talking about someone who how many of us can do that? What they do? We're talking about two of the four greatest in that time period that can perform a rap record.
Listen, Jay, Nas, Big, and Pac will forever be in my top four. There's no one knocking those four out of where they are. They'll wherever you want to put them, they're in the four. They're top four. Jay Z, Nas, Biggie, Pac. There's no one coming in. No one's gonna tell me different. No one's gonna. Oh, Nas, nah. No, no, no. Fuck you. Fuck your opinion. Because no
Yeah,
one did what those four did. I'm sorry. You don't have to like them, but there's nothing that what those four guys did in music that can be taken away from them. There's no other artists, no other rappers on your list that's done what Jay-Z, Nas, Big, and Pac have done. I'm sorry. I don't care who came before them, who came after them. And I know people going to argue and be mad at me about this shit. I don't care. Musically, no one's touching that four. Those are the four horsemen of rap. Whatever place you want to have Pac one, Nas one, Big one, Najee one, whatever. Those are that's the how the Yankees say the core four. That's the core four for me. There's no change in that. There's no one doing better in what they done musically. I'm sorry.
And Jay-Z, we got into it about Nas. We're starting the Jay-Z epilogue. It's just they also showed you 4 different ways of how to be successful, regardless of what you do in life.
Point.
You know, Nas had his way, Jay-Z had his way, and then Big had his way, and Pac had his way.
My mind is infested with sick thoughts that circle like Alexis. If driven wrong and sure to hurt you, do level like duplexes. In unity, my crew and me commit atrocities like we got immunity. You guessed it, manifested intangible goods. Platinum Rolex that we don't lease, we buy the whole car as you should. My confederation, detonation, explode on detonation, explode the mind of a sad patient. When it boils the steam, it comes to it. We all fiends got to do it. Even righteous minds go through this. True this. The street schoolers to spend our money foolish. Born with jewelers and watch for intruders. I stepped it up another level, meditated like a Buddhist, recruited lieutenants were ludicrous. Dreams of getting cream, let's do this. It gets TDS, so I keep one eye open like CBS. You see me stressed, right? Can I live? Nigga. He wrote that. That's probably the only verse on the album I think he wrote. Like that whole shit.
That I don't know if it was the first time I heard that verse, but definitely the first time when I realized what he was saying in that verse was like, holy shit. I didn't realize that was the only verse that he wrote either. And yeah, that verse was because the whole keep one eye open like CBS was the genius behind that line is the fact that now you got to go rewind it.
That whole shit, like this whole album, he dropped so many jewels. It's not like he like, all right, yeah, it's some glorification, but it's also some precautionary tales. Like, yo, I'm letting you know, like, yo, listen, this is if you choose to go this route.
Do that.
Listen, shut up.
Hold on. This is the epitome of mafioso rap. This is glorification. This is Scarface.
It is.
And Godfather. You know what?
You're right. Wait, hold on.
Sorry.
Yes. This is what I want. This is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted you to do this. This is what I wanted to do. But listen, the emotions and just insight. You know what I'm saying?
You got it. I just got hit with the how the truth just stabs you. Reasonable doubt might be like the Godfather. It might be, even though he did the image and everything.
Yo, son.
It might be the Godfather of all the mafioso.
Street schoolers to spend our money foolish. Born with jewelers and watch for intruders. I stepped it up another level. Meditated like a Buddhist. Like I had to sit back and just analyze the whole situation, son. Like I gotta do the knowledge. Recruited lieutenants were ludicrous. Dreams of getting cream. Let's do. Son. I need real niggas on my team that really want to get that money. I recruited lieutenants were ludicrous. Dreams of getting cream. Let's do this. It gets tedious.
It wasn't like The Godfather was the first gangster flick.
No.
It was just at that time. The difference is that Godfather was celebrated as one of the best films ever at the time. At the time,
but what do you think now for The Godfather Part 1?
is still one of the best
Oh yeah,
films of all time,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So Reasonable Doubt wasn't regarded as that when it came out, but
Oh,
just look, you're saying the lyrics and you're not even flowing it. You're just saying them, and it's just like,
bro,
yo,
because
if you said that over a beat, that would be crazy, bro. Like, just you know what I mean? Like, you can't beat like that's what Clark Kent was saying. Jay Z, Jay Z's lyrics were just shit. You wrote that? That's amazing. And then you wrote another one. Then you wrote another 16.
the
You
nigga
got another 16 after that? Oh
started
shit.
first though. My mind is infested with sick thoughts that's driven like a Lexus. If driven wrong, it's circle like a Lexus. If driven wrong, it's sure to hurt you. Do level like duplexes in unity. My crew and me commit atrocities like we got immunity. Like, yo, what?
Yeah.
Nah, son.
He was saying, you know what? Have you ever seen the Bill Maher interview when Jay-Z was on Bill Maher?
So, bro, he gave him his lyrics book. I remember it. Yeah, yeah,
And Bill Maher said it was like he told him, he's like, it was like early on you were trying to say so much in so little time. And Jay-Z was like, yeah. And he's like,
yeah.
later, and you get to by the time you get to the blueprint, it was he mastered. He's saying he mastered the commercialism or how to say things, but really it was just
Joe Budden. Joe Budden says it best about Jay. Like he was like, yo, I'd rather take Blueprint Jay over Reasonable Doubt Jay. He said,
I
because
don't
Blueprint
know.
Jay. Well, I mean, this is Joe Budden said. I'm not agreeing. I'm just saying what he said. Like, yo, because Blueprint Jay is the embodiment of all that. Like, you know what I'm saying? He mastered, yeah, he gave us the lyricism. We overlooked it. We had to go back and delve into it. But Blueprint Jay is the artist. Like, he can do the commercial shit and still give you some ill street shit, give you the B-sides. Like, I think he just, like, he was in his zone. Like, that was his peak. And we got to get into the peak shit someday.
Well, we
But,
will, but because this is a peak. This is his first peak. Is Reasonable Doubt.
yes.
That's what
Man,
not we haven't said either. That this is his
I
first
mean,
peak.
that's the thought of it, but Hard Knock Life is when he started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still think the reason and to solidify that point, if he stopped rapping, just to put it, I guess, be politically correct about it. If he stopped rapping after Reasonable Doubt, we go, whoa, and we had to look back at that, and we go, wait, what, who is that guy? And we listen, and these lyrics right now, we're going, this could possibly be the best rap we ever heard in our lives. Like, where did that guy go? And it's like Jay Electronica. And you know what? I can't even compare it to that because this is an entire album of worth of material.
Yeah.
Is there any other verses that you wanted to go over that we may have overlooked in the last
Feel it.
3.5 hours?
I know we
Philly?
feel it. I just feeling it. Yeah.
Feeling it.
Yeah. It's the jewels on like feeling it, man. It's like I mean, I think like if you come like I grew up with I got this I still have the same circle of friends, same dudes I grew up with. And it's like, yo, when you have a clique of friends and dudes you grew up with and they still true to you, you know what I mean? Your friends for all these years, your family. When Jay says lines like, if every nigga in your clique is rich, your clique is rugged. Nobody will flow because everyone would be each other's crutches. Hope you fools choose to listen. I drop jewels, bust it. Like things like that. Like, yo, you want to embody. I'm not saying everyone embodies that, but it's things like that you hear. Like, yo, you wish you envision that for your people. Like, or me and you. Like, yo, we doing this together. Still sharp and still. Like, it's gonna be times when me and you we disagree about something, or you're gonna be like, yo, B, you fucking up. Or I'm like, yo, Ray, you need to do this. Like, you need to do that. You need that. You need real people around you. You need people in your clique that's gonna tell you, like, yo, son, we got shit to take care of. We got things to do. Like, yo, we need to get here at point A. If we need to get to point B, you gotta do your part. And I gotta do mine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that it's lines like that, like you take in, like, yo, all right, you can use that as a mantra or motivation to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like I love that shit, man. If every nigga in your clique is rich, your clique is rugged, nobody would fall because everyone would be each other's crutches. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I'm on point, I'm making sure you on point too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? We gonna keep our cipher complete. We gonna keep what we got going. You know what I'm saying? We got to keep each other on point. And I love lines like that. You know what I'm saying? And I know people hear shit like that from Jay, from songs like this, and they use it, you know what I mean, for that. And I just had to point that out. Like lines like that. I don't want to overlook it.
That's definitely one that was memorable. Uh, very the whole crutches thing was the whole crutches thing because he painted a picture. It was to to be honest, that was one of the most memorable parts of Reasonable Doubt. Was that bar about the crutches?
Yeah.
That it always stood out. It always stood out because you pictured it. Anytime someone, a vocalist or an orator, made you, if they somehow made you picture something, that's what makes Martin Luther King. Just I'd imagine it. Oh, I don't even want to go there. I'd imagine, I almost went some. I just trying to avoid certain topics, but the great orators of the world, they always make you. They always make you escape. They always make you escape. That's the talent, like an Obama, and even a Trump in a sense. They grab you,
Yeah.
and not that Trump, not that Jay. I mean, actually, that's a different topic. But
Here we
I'm
go.
sorry. Yeah, just because that's the power of celebrity. But when these celebrities do work their powers, they do make you escape, and they do capture you and captivate you. That's what does propel popular figures. That's how they got into the forefront in the first place. Was performing, or you recognizing somehow that they were doing something, and one of those things that they were doing were just making you envision something when you didn't expect to envision it. You know what I mean? And they just, I guess, with rap and what Jay-Z was doing, especially with a statement like that, for an album like that, you all you expected was the stereotype of why they were selling drugs, and then the introspection that he provided and he was delivering throughout the album was, yo, there's a fraternity in this thing, and within this fraternity, yo, if you fall, we got each other's back because we all got the same goal in mind. And even though he might slip, he really didn't, because I'm right here, because I got him. I'm the crutch.
Yeah.
So he's just so, and he said all of that by saying we're all each other's crutches. Every nigga fall. Like again, you're saying so much. That's what makes a rapper so ill. He uses 2 or 3 words, and he just painted the same pictures that I did, and that it took me 2-3 minutes to fucking describe.
He takes a few bars. He could put so much in one bar. It means so much. Like he could say less. He could say more with less, which is crazy. Well, hold on, bro. Hold on.
We're gonna have 18 minutes left. Probably, I think it's 4 hours.
Hello? Yeah, I'm almost finished. Yeah, man. Yeah, we gotta edit this shit out of this. um,
Shit.
yeah, that line. I know, bro. I know it's like fucking 142. Shit. Damn.
I got surgery on Friday morning, so I should be good. I'm just gonna wake up in 4 hours. Tomorrow's Thursday,
Tomorrow's Thursday. Well, today's
so
Thursday.
I have a 4-day weekend. I have the surgery. Hopefully, that shit is a success. I've been holding off on this shit for a couple years. To be honest, I didn't know I'm an idiot. I was walking around with spurs in my foot, like, yeah, I'm a man.
Oh God, bro.
Yeah. Well, is what it is. Any more verses that really stood out to you though?
Two. It's just two. The Bring It On verse.
Bring it on.
The Bring It On verse. I
Young
know that.
Bobby De Niro.
Yeah. Mannerisms of a young Bobby De Niro, spit Spanish wisdoms in the whip with De Niro, crime organized like the Pharaoh, I cream, I diamond gleam, high post like Hakeem. Got a lot of things to drop, Brooklyn and Queens. Gotta keep my steam. Niggas wanna try to hit my lawn jeans. Uptown fiend for Jay-Z to appear on the scene. In the meanwhile, here's some dope for y'all to lean. Ye's on from days on in. Money make the world go around, so I made some to spend. Can I live div dough with my niggas? Dividends flow like the Mississippi River. Looking jig, can't do for Dolo. Had to turn away when Tony killed Manolo. That's real. Mixed feelings like a mulatto. Doug thought he was OG Bobby Johnson. I played him like Benny Blanco. Mano a mano, you ain't ready. I final trigger straight up shoot my guns horizontal. Get your weight up. I am 2.2 pounds. You barely 125 grams. Would expect y'all to understand this money through the knowledge, through the few dollars. I do the Demiles cruise from Brooklyn to Hollis to a hood near you. What the fuck? Like, nigga. High post like Hakeem. Got a lot of things to drop. Brooklyn and Queens. Gotta keep my steam. Niggas want to try to hit my long G. Yo.
That's what caught me. Any sports verse caught me. I post like Hakeem when he said that. I forgot about that. When he said that, that's what caught me for that verse. As soon as he said high post like Hakeem, first of all, it made me think like, yo, Olajuwon did post from anywhere, and then the high post was dangerous. Yeah, he
Oh.
shit. What made you, was it the whole verse or was there a couple bars in particular?
A whole verse, man. The mannerisms of a young Bobby De Niro. Like from the jump. Like, like who says that? Mannerisms of a young Bobby De Niro. Spent Spanish wisdoms in the whip with De Niro. Like wisdoms is women. You know what I'm saying? You know mathematics, you know the 5% is, whiz. Shorty, that's my whiz right there. It's a girl, it's a female. Spent Spanish wisdoms in the whip with De Niro. Crime organized like the Pharaoh. Of course, Pharaoh Monch is part of organized confusion. Like,
I
yo,
never, I never even understood that. I never even understood that. I thought
crime.
he was referring to wow. I thought he was referring to like some organized
See?
group from fucking Egypt that I didn't know about. To be honest,
Crime organized like the Pharaoh. I cream, I diamond gleam, high post like Hakeem. Got a lot of things to drop. Brooklyn and Queens. Niggas, yo. Jay was, that whole song, Sauce, Jay, Jazz, they all bodied that. All
I don't
bodied that.
know. I don't know if he wasted a single
Bar.
word. Fuck a bar.
Yeah,
I
word.
don't know if he wasted a single word on Reasonable Doubt, and that's the difference between Reasonable Doubt and every other album. Because
That's true.
production wise, no disrespect, to Clark Kane or DJ Premier and Irv Gotti,
Mhm.
but you're gonna have Swiss Beats and Timberland who take it, rap production to another level in the next couple of years after Reasonable Doubt, and Jay-Z is probably in the same realm of rappers as Timberland and Swiss are as producers. So, they'll understand what I'm saying when I say that. Like, he just did not waste. Words were his part of his instrument and part of his forte. So, just everything you said right now was just shit.
No, bro, can't do for Dolo. Had to turn away when Tony killed Manolo. That's real. Mixed feelings like a mulatto. Doug thought he was OG Bobby Johnson from South Central. Doug thought he was OG Bobby Johnson. I played him like Benny Blanco, mano a mano. You ain't ready.
He was, yeah, but he couldn't. Shit, I could see why. It was almost like Reasonable Doubt was his pool of talent, and every other album he would dip into Reasonable Doubt and show you like a piece of it
Yes, yes.
lyrically, because it
And he
is.
he's mentioned that. Like, you know what I'm saying? He says he'll dabble here and there. He's like, of course, I start making the songs that keep the register, to keep the album selling. But I also throw some gems in between the albums, just here and there, let you know, like I still do that shit. But Reasonable
I
Doubt
don't
was
think I don't think he could ever do that. That
do
was
what?
too
Oh, do
reasonable.
what you did on Reasonable Doubt?
Yeah, even if he
Yeah,
tried, even if he tried to, it just wasn't like he said. It took him a lifetime to come up with that. So everything
yeah,
else was just a piece of that. It was almost like what I say about any other artist or album that kind of like changes the sound or the wave or whatever.
mhm,
People just go to that like vultures. Like you vulture off your own. That's why the whole culture vulture thing is a little slippery slope, because
mm,
people are kind of culture vultures within their fucking culture, because they'll copy off the same. Bro, you didn't invent that. You weren't doing that last week. He did that, but you do it your. You know what I mean? So he culture vultured off his own shit.
yeah,
Every other album, because it's just lyrically. I think that's what we love about Reasonable Doubt, is that
right.
lyrically it was just. mm.
Oh
I
man,
don't know if there's a that's going out on a limb, but that's what I can go on a limb and say I don't know if there's a better album that I personally think is more efficient than Reasonable Doubt. I don't know
yeah,
of one,
yeah,
and I
because
don't think he's a great storyteller. I don't
no,
think
that's not his strength.
the greatest. I don't think he's the greatest storyteller, but
Listen, and I think you're right, man. If you listen to the album, it's not too many wasted bars. Like, because even the songs that probably not the best songs on there, he lyrically was just he was in his bag, man. Like, man, the other shit is 22 twos. Like that, I mean, that was just straight rhyming. He used to do that shit at Mad Wednesdays for Maria Davis. He used to have the open mic nights. And I've actually went to one of those. One of my homeboys back in the day, he performed at Mad Wednesdays up in Manhattan. And Jay used to go up there all the time. Damon, them used to say he's always spit his shit. And I guess that's where they made that song 22 Twos. He used to spit some raw shit. But that second verse, one of the lines I just love that just always stood out to me. I say it randomly. At your wake as I peek in, look in your casket, feeling sarcastic. Look at him, still sleeping. Like, I'm like, wow. Like that shit is so cold and malice and sarcastic. I love that line, man. I just say I spit it out randomly. Like it just I'm sitting by myself and I'll say it. But it's like, yo, he was just flowing. It was just rapping. It wasn't like no ill intent. Like I got to do. I'm just letting you know I can spit. Cop to reach my quota. Push rock, roll up, smooth like on ya. Whole groove like holo, swell up. Too many faggot niggas clocking my spinning, exercising your gay like minds like Richard Simmons. If you catch Jay right on the late night without the eight right, maybe you could test my weight right. I dip squid quicker than you ever seen. Administer pain. Next to minister screaming your name at your wake as I peek in, look in your casket, feeling sarcastic. Look at them, still sleeping. You're never ready. Forever petty, mind stay petty, mind stay longevity till I'm 70. Living heavenly, fuck felony after felony. What nigga, you broke? What the fuck you gonna tell me? Like that. That's just rapping. That shit, man. Jay, Jay's man, incredible, man. I love it, man. Is there any for you? Like besides the Can't Knock the Hustle?
I don't know. Those are everything you were just went over. These verses.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you went over them the way that you did because I forgot about that.
I got one more. That's one
Because
more.
yeah, look at his casket, feeling sarcastic. Look at him still sleeping. That was, I mean, again,
It's that
we
New York
always
song.
saw New York sarcasm, and when I always say, even with Nas, like 500 years from now, we're gonna have to go back. We gotta talk about Nas. 500 years from now, obviously, like Jay-Z is obviously someone they're gonna have to talk about. If you had to guess about a rapper who's out nowadays, who you think they're gonna talk about 500 years from now, you would say Jay-Z. Nas wasn't as obvious. Jay-Z is obviously someone, but reasonable doubt is not gonna be the obvious thing they point, the obvious um, piece of art they're gonna point to from him. But
Mm-mm.
and because of the lyrics, they can be a little like off-putting for people who are gonna be like, wait, they were just rapping about death like that? They were just sarcastically rhyming about somebody in their casket? That was never done before in the history of mankind. Like, to be sarcastic about looking at somebody dead in their that you think you killed, that has never happened before. And he did it in a way that was, if you read it, it's like a comedian that tells, when they say a comedian can't tell a rape joke, and then you hear Chappelle do a rape joke, and you go, "Oh shit, I didn't think I was gonna laugh at that," and you do. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. You're supposed to laugh about death.
Song. The whole song is comical. Like even the end when Maria Davis is like, like somebody says, "Shut the fuck up." Who said Yo, I call Chris still, and we do that shit. Like you know what I'm saying. I call my sister. We do the end of that song. Like it's crazy, man. But that shit, it was comical, man. But that's just I think that's like you said it best, man. It's that New York wit, that New York sarcasm that a lot of MCs in the '90s had, and they took on, man. I think it started. I want to say that sarcasm. It started with, is it Kane?
Kane,
Big Kane used to spit like he used to say that sarcastic shit too.
Kane
Like
will put a quarter in your ass because you played yourself. Is the epitome of, yeah, of New
yeah, you know,
York.
disciple of Kane.
Yeah,
So
but that's fun. You know what we gotta do? We have to do. Like, I'm gonna have to research that. Like, who really came up with the raps New York sarcasm? Because that's really what hip hop is. Like when they started doing the East Coast street rap was based on New York sarcasm because you have to be you have to speak with a double meaning to be
yes,
sarcastic in a New York fashion. If
right.
you can't, then it doesn't make sense. You know that we talked about it with DMX. DMX was sarcastic as hell, and it was dope.
Yeah,
We
it's a
got
lost art.
green. Yeah, it's not.
The last song. I know it's late, and we spoke about this song already, but Dead President's Part Two, his second verse. He was like, I make you and your whack mans fold like bad hands, roll like Monopoly, advance. You copy me like white crystal. I gross the most at the end of the fiscal year that these niggas can wish to. Dead presidential candidate with the sprinkles in the presidential ice that'll defend you in due time when crime flees my mind. All sneak thieves and play your haters can shine. But until then, I keep the trillion cut, diamond shining brilliant. I tell you half the story, the rest you filling in. Long as the villain win, I spend Japan yen at 10 major events. Catch me in the joints, convinced my iguanas is biting. JAY hyphen, controlling and manipulating. I got a life, man. Pounds and pence. Enough dollars make sense. Why you riding the bench? Catch me swinging for the fence. Dead presidents, you know? Just like that whole, it's just him rapping. Like, just, that whole flow, like I grossed the most at the end of the fiscal year, and these niggas can wish to. Like I didn't know what fiscal year meant back then. I didn't know. I didn't know about any of that shit. I spent Japan yen at 10 major events. Like I was as a kid, you're lost. Like you don't know until you get older. And you're like, oh my god. Of course, you catch the roll Monopoly Advance, pass go. You catch that line as a kid, but all that other shit, I ain't know what the fuck he was talking about, bro. You know what I'm saying? Long as the villain win, I spend Japan yen at 10 major events. Like all that, like just I don't know, man. Jay was just rapping, like you said, like it felt like he was just trying to get 26 years of a culmination of him trying to be a rapper and finally spitting his work out there, spitting his life on wax. And we got it with reasonable doubt, man. And I don't think he'll ever get back to that point, like just lyrically, like it felt different. Perfect way to end the album. It wasn't up tempo, it was like real solemn, real sad song. I love the hook. Like the hook is one of my favorite Jay-Z hooks. This is number one rule for your set. In order to survive, gotta learn to live with regrets. On a rise to the top, many try. Don't forget, in order to survive, gotta learn to live with regrets. Like just like it's real shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that opening verse though. When he was like, I sold it all from crack to OPM in third person. I don't want to see him. So I'm rehearsing with my peoples how to GM from a remote location in the BM. Scoping the whole situation like, damn, metamorphic as the dope turns to cream. But one of these buyers got eyes like a Korean. It's difficult to read them. Windows to his soul while half closed. I put the key in, pulled off slow, hoping my people fling in. Chink try to knock the only link that tied me in. Coppers is watching us through nighttime binoculars. Got us on tape. When he said coppers watching us through nighttime binoculars, this time they got us on tape exchanging dope for dollars. Make me want to holler back at the crib in the sauna. Praying my people build out like Tom Warner. Awaiting call from his kin, not the coroner. Phone in my hand, nervous confined to a corner. Beads of sweat, second thoughts on my mind. How can I ease the stress and learn to live with these regrets? It's time. Stress. Like it's just verses like that. It's like I mean, I as someone that's in the drug trade, like he's selling drugs, like he's giving me that perspective of you hope, like it's a situation where you hoping that the transaction goes through, and you waiting for that phone call, hoping that your peoples ain't get knocked. Like he's explaining that whole shit, or hoping that you not get knocked by the feds or whoever's watching. Like the way how descriptive he was, like just coppers is watching us through nighttime binoculars. This time they got us on tape exchanging dope for dollars. All the emotions that you're going through as a hustler, like Jay just was breaking it down on reasonable doubt. Like more so than a perspective that a lot of us I didn't never heard up until that point, and maybe I'm wrong, but at that time I wasn't hearing shit like that, and I didn't understand shit like that until I got older, and I'm like, oh wow, like he was giving insight. You know what I'm saying? Such songs like this was not much of a glorification. It's more like, yo, this is what's going on. Like, all right, you choose to be in this trade, you choose to sell drugs. This is the consequences, and this is the shit you gotta deal with. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is a part of that. And once you get knocked, you know what I'm saying? Like that could be the end. That's your downfall, but you can't snitch. But it's like shit like that, like just that insight that me, a common person, I didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? And it's the way how vivid and how descriptive he was on that shit was crazy.
I just hate hearing you say that they didn't glorify it. I think that's they all lie about that and they all glorify it. This is a glorification of it. Don't put the cigar with the fedora. That's not a fedora. What kind of hat is that?
Yeah, whatever.
It's for me, it's just the fact that every time you say the lyrics, it's like, yeah, this is lyrically the best mafioso type of rap. Only Built for Cuban Links has better songs. Incarcerated. He ain't got no Incarcerated Scarfaces on here. He just doesn't. I don't know
Nothing
if there's any.
like that. No.
Yeah, I don't because there's no RZA. Like I love DJ Premier, but I don't know if DJ Premier even has the
Yeah.
best DJ Premier beats are.
The production on Only Built for Cuban Links is better, hands down. And
It
that's what probably that separates that from this.
it absolutely does.
Yeah.
It goes back to our conversation about the War Report versus everything else. Like
War Report versus what?
everything. Like Illmatic had DJ Premier, Large Professor,
Better production.
but you had a better visionary. Reasonable Doubt, it had Clark Kent, yes, it had Dame Dash, but you see the different level when Puff tries something with Volume 1. Not to say it's better than Reasonable Doubt, but there's a clearer vision. Like there's more. It's almost like someone put binoculars on Reasonable Doubt. Same thing with Volume 2, and then you see him like, oh, this is what we meant to do when Volume 2 happens, because you see Swizz Beats and you see Timbaland. So Big had Puff, Raekwon had RZA. It just happened to be.
What do you think is better, Volume 1 or Reasonable Doubt?
Oh, Reasonable Doubt, because Volume 1, and the only reason why is because Volume 1 should have had, like, again, if Volume 1 has like 4 less songs than it does, it might be better than Reasonable Doubt, because the production is just that great. You can't. How the fuck? Where I'm From, there is no Where I'm From on Reasonable Doubt. It just bangs.
Like, yeah, just yeah. There's
It's
nothing
just like,
harder. Yeah, there's nothing harder. Yeah, I
he's
agree.
killing it, but he's still like removing pieces off of the Reasonable Doubt shit, because Reasonable Doubt is, I don't even know how to fucking parallel the lyrics to this thing, man.
Reasonable Doubt and Volume 1 are Earth and Venus. Like how they say Venus was like how Earth used to be, like, or what it could have been or whatever. Like, it's just, to me, Reasonable Doubt, yeah, the production might, like, there's points on there where Volume 1 has better production, and like Where I'm From and Streets is Watching are like top 10 J songs. But lyrically, Jay was on a different planet on Reasonable Doubt to me. But I love Volume 1 more so than a lot of other Jay albums that people put above it. Because I think, like you, I feel like 3 or 4 songs, you take that off Volume 1. Volume 1 is a classic. But a lot of those songs like Sunshine, I Know What Girls Like, maybe City Is Mine. I actually like The City Is Mine, but that's one of the weaker points on the album that people pinpoint.
You can see why people say that.
You
can see
why. Yeah.
But you know what? Now that as you're talking, if you take 3 or 4 songs off of Reasonable Doubt is untouchable.
It could be flawless.
Right. So it's
All right. What songs would you take off? You personally, what would you take off Reasonable Doubt?
What's the part 2 one at the end? That doesn't count then, huh?
That doesn't count. Nah. Can I Live Part 2? And I actually like Can I Live Part, but I don't count that as it's not the original Reasonable Doubt.
It's not that I don't like it. I like all of them because they all rap. Like, to be honest, even the Bring It On song to me is, they all kill it.
Yeah, nah, absolutely not. Yeah, the lyrics is not what people look at the album as like, all right, why they don't like it or why they dislike. You know what I'm saying? Like, people look at it probably the production side. Like you say it's boring at times, and you know stuff like that. What songs would you take off of Reasonable Doubt?
If it's 14 songs, if you take off to me, Bring It On, which is
Mm,
hard to do.
wow.
Which one is coming and maybe Coming of Age?
Take off Coming of Age? Really? Wow.
Is just the Coming of Age almost feels and sounds different than Politics as Usual. Politics as Usual and Regrets and Can I Live? You can they just the vibe is exactly like, again, I always say when I think of the word classic song or classic album, I think
Mm,
of classical music. And when you go back to Beethoven, he had music that was like a song was 15 minutes long and it was
yeah.
going up and down and going through whatever. It was 15 minutes long. These songs are 5 minutes long. So they're supposed to weave with each other. That's why when Dr. Dre was doing a record, it was supposed to weave with each other. And I think Can Knock the Hustle almost doesn't fit with those songs, but because it
Take,
is.
you would take off Can Knock the Hustle?
Not that I would take it off, but I'm trying to describe, like, when I hear it, I'm listening to it and I go, "Oh, they only did that because it's the formula, R&B chick on the hook." I
Mm,
know it's the time of it. I can just tell, but I know for a fact, Politics as Usual. What I say, Regrets and Can I Live? It is almost seamless. I can't describe it. I don't know how to really describe it, but it
mm,
feels like, oh, those shit. This is Jay-Z. This is who he is at his core, but we gotta make other people like him. So we need the Can't Knock the Hustle. That's Mary J. Blige. This is the R&B girl. This is the one of the most popular people. And you know what I mean? Like there's different formulas in how to attract the masses to commercialize the product.
right.
You couldn't do that with Politics as Usual, Regrets, or Can I Live. They were not going to sell the album. That's
Yeah.
just business wise. You sit back and we all had a meeting, and me and you sitting down, you go, "Yeah, you're right."
All right. But so for you personally, if you had to make a playlist of songs on Reasonable Doubt, make your own version of Reasonable Doubt, what songs would you take off?
So it was Bring It On. Which one is Cashmere Thoughts?
Number 12 is right before Bringing On. That's I talk jewels and spit diamonds, all cherry like a hymen when I'm rhyming with remarkable timing. Cashiers, silk dreams, my voice is linen,
Hop on
spitting.
your good foot.
Yeah, that shit.
Hop on
Yeah.
your good. Hop on your good
Fuck
foot.
that.
Actually, that fits. I think, yo, that shit fits with. Oh my god, it would be like I'll piss everybody off. It'll be like 5 or 6 songs that would stay remain.
Oh, damn. So
Yeah,
5 or
I don't even
6.
think I don't think
Out
Brooklyn's
of
Finest
14?
fits with this shit.
Yeah, Brooklyn's Finest sounds different than a lot of the joints on there. I mean, I know it's an old soul sample. Shouts to Clark. But yeah, nah, I know what you're saying. I do know what you're saying though. So you would
I
take that.
if I were to pinpoint like the soul of whatever he was trying to capture, his Politics is you. I'll only remain with these songs. Politics as Usual. I don't know about feeling it. The Evils is almost there. Can I Live? Friend or Foe.
Mm,
Said Cashmere Thoughts and Regrets. It's like 6 songs.
ah. So you would
And
take off Knock the Hustle,
I would
Brooklyn,
knock all that shit off.
Dead Presidents?
I bet you if you were to speak to Jay-Z, he would be like, I know what I know what you mean. Because all that other shit, even Dead Presidents, is like If you ever listen to if there's I gotta pull this up when Big Daddy they asked Big Daddy King what's the freestyle, and he goes and he tells him what you when the guy was trying to insinuate, Big Daddy King goes, what you're saying, you're talking about top of the going off the top. That's what everybody thinks you're gonna do and be this fucking magical fucking freestyler. He goes, no, that's called going off the top. You just going off the top of your head trying to come up with the best rhyme possible. Back in the day, everybody always used to come out with their rhyme book in their hands. I never knew this until I watched this interview. On the corner, wherever they were at, they would come up with their rhyme book, and a freestyle was free of style. There was no concept. You would just rhyme, saying whatever the fuck you rhymed and wrote down. It was free of style. And
I've
to
heard
me,
yeah.
I'm not sure if Dead Presidents has a real concept to it. Like
Really?
all right, it's about money, I guess. Okay, and
I mean,
it's
you talk
about
about,
drug
you know,
dealing. It still seemed braggadocio or whatever, but politics, like, it feels soulless. And politics as usual. Can I live? Cashmere thoughts, regrets, especially regrets. After you recited the lyrics, and I regret saying whatever the fuck I said at the beginning of this podcast. Regrets, cashmere thoughts. Can I live is totally soulful. It's totally soulful. Now that I'm fucking even talking to you, now it makes sense why Kanye brought even and Just Blaze brought even more of a spirit to Jay-Z's fucking lyrics during Blueprint. He brought the spirit, an elevation to the spirit that politics as usual, feeling it, cannot live, cashmere thoughts and regrets eventually ended up being on the Blueprint that Kanye provided. And later on, because that was those other records are soulless. He's talking about being a zombie in the street. Dead Presidents is you're a zombie. You're talking about making drug money. Everything else was him being a human, telling you, reflecting like,
what about the evils?
um, yes, but it's just that it's hard. The Evils has the word devil in it. It's soulless.
It's no,
So
it
yeah,
can't be soulless.
no, I'm with you. So yeah, I'm walking through this with you. Yeah. We're thinking out loud. I'm sorry. We're
The
thinking out loud.
evil, the fact that Premier used a gospel record
Yeah.
him to talk about the devils of the drug game.
Yes.
Like this is that whole second verse what I was bringing up earlier.
Yeah.
Like that's evils. That's the devil.
Yeah.
This shit. Like and it's just crazy because I know you say he's glorifying it, but yo, songs like that is like, yo, this is what happens if you're in this game. Like, yo, you're gonna come across some shit. You're gonna come across these devils, the evils, like, you know, things like having problems with your friend, let money become between you two. Like that shit is crazy. Think it back when you first learn to use. Like I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like
yes, I agree with. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like half the album, if you remove half the album, you go, this is some of the most amazing work in the history of mankind.
Yeah, man.
It's if you remove half the album, and I know it's disrespectful if anybody, I really don't give a fuck. I'm just trying to describe like how I understand rap and like how I understand when they're trying to manipulate me. Bring It On is pure freestyle to me.
Yeah, that's just pure rhyming. And like if you watch the DVD Jay making the album, like they talk about that. Like even his third verse on That President's Part 2, he's like, yo, that's just rapping. Like the Soviet, the unified, steady flow. You already know you light. I'm heavy roll, heavy dough, Mike Machete. He said that's just pure, just rapping, letting you know, like I can spit that shit. But
Right.
his
Because
other verses,
because it was formulaic. It was going to be on the radio. You needed a third verse. That's what was needed back then. You don't even need a third verse to be on the radio anymore.
no,
They buy up the time with whatever now because they have the Breakfast Club and reruns now. and they just replay an interview from wherever. It's just a different world that we live in. So yeah, that's how. Ain't no nigga. You can't tell me he's not killing. Ain't no nigga, but
Yeah, I get it.
it's soulless.
I skip
It's
it.
yeah. I can play it because
I
he's
play it,
killing.
but when I'm playing the album, is like I'll
Right.
probably do it for a few seconds or a minute, hit the first verse, and I'll skip it.
But you
But
can't tell me you hear that and exactly and you skip it with no problem because it doesn't fit with regrets. It doesn't fit with politics as usual. These sound
no,
like they were made at two totally different times.
maybe so.
Anybody could have made Ain't No Nigga, to be honest. Like not they wouldn't have killed it like him, but that beat have a Foxy Brown feature, that hook is way too catchy to not be a hit, to not
That's
be in a right to appeal to everybody else in the masses. It's just, yeah,
man.
that's what I feel about this. Hopefully, I killed this last 5 minutes because it's 2 in the
Yeah,
morning.
you did, yeah, you did your thing, man. I just the songs like The Evils to me, like just shit is wicked on these mean streets. None of my friends speak. We all trying to win. But then again, maybe it's for the best though. Because when they saying too much, they trying to get you touched. Whoever said illegal was the easy way out. Couldn't understand the mechanics and workings of the underworld. Granted, 9 to 5 is how you survive. I ain't trying to survive. I'm trying to live it to the limit and love it a lot. Life
Yeah.
ills, poison my body. Used to say, fuck Mike skills. Only pray to God. I pray to God. Eat. That's right. It's wicked. That's life I live in. Ain't asking for forgiveness for my sins. Ends. I break bread with the lay heads, picking their brains for angles and all the evils that the game would do. It gets dangerous. Money and power is changing us. And now we lethal, infected
Nah,
with the evils.
that actually is soulful. The
It
Evils
is.
is actually, yeah. He's as you're saying, is oh my god. Yeah. So that's even so 22 twos, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, that's just rhyming.
Right. Even
It's
Friend
ill.
of Foe, I said it, but Friend of Foe kind of fits.
Nah, it fits. It definitely
Friend of Foe
fits.
because it's a story.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's drug shit.
Okay. So imagine if this shit was 8 or 9 songs. And that's what I mean by when I think about a classic album, that's what I mean. Like sometimes people were just putting way too many songs on fucking albums. If you take off 4 or 5 of these songs, you can't fuck with it. It is a masterpiece.
I get what you're saying.
It's a masterpiece. And that's what I mean by that. That's why I say Illmatic is 9 songs. It's supposed to be.
Perfect.
It's supposed to be. Still, like it's just unfortunate. You know what I mean? And I'm sure they know that. Like I'm not the genius that fucking, oh my god, I was born today and here's Jesus. No, they know that. These are the guys. These are the gods that come up with this shit. Oh my god. Like, how do you even I'm still mystified by it. How do you come up with some shit like this for me to even dissect? We're sitting here fucking 2:30 in the morning dissecting. Oh my god. Give us 100,000 hits, you fucking bunch of bitches. Give me my money.
Yo. Yeah. End of the day, this album is a classic to me. 25 years, bro. For us to be talking about this shit 25 years later, since his debut, goes a long way. It says a lot about the album. It's timeless because people still revere it. People still wax poetic about it. People have anniversaries about it. Not even Jay-Z. It's just fans. You know what I'm saying? We're bringing this up. People love it. You know what I'm saying? Even if it wasn't a hit or it was impactful when it dropped, the fact that people went back to it and dissected these lyrics and just dissected these songs, and we're doing this podcast says a lot about that album. And yeah, man, I love it. It's my favorite rap album. Just lyrically, I just think Jay was, on another level, man. And yeah, I love it.
I really haven't. I'm sorry. Anyone can name, even as I said that, This is still 15 songs. Damn near was 15 times 3, 45. So let's say he has features on it. So let's say 39, 40, between 35 and 40 verses that he's damn near flawless on.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Damn near flawless. No disrespect to Nas, because we praised the fuck out of him on Escobar season.
Hell yeah.
No disrespect to Biggie. No disrespect to anybody we're gonna mention. If there was, I don't say if there's anyone I want to rap like how can you not want to rap like him?
Yeah.
He makes it so easy, like, and then he's making these complicated lyrics seem so easy to absorb. That's a skill that's pimp. That's a pimp. He's a pimp.
Yo, bro, let me I gotta wrap this up, man. I gotta go. Damn, I'm mad though, because I wanted to talk a little bit more, but I gotta go. Put it in perspective.